Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rant. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back and welcome to another live edition. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know the deal, man. You guys know, man. Once again, you guys know what it's about. Welcome to another live edition, man. A Sunday live, that is, man. Again, and on this live, we got a bunch of things that we want to talk about. Like you guys know how we do it on these lives, man. But we want to talk about some specific things. You guys seen the title of the live. We definitely going to talk about LeBron James stat padding last night. I mean, this man was stat chasing, stat padding late in the game again in a blowout win for the Lakers. I mean, this is just becoming a routine thing from LeBron James. We definitely going to talk about that. That's what we're going to talk about mostly. But we also got to talk about my man Scaff Attack. We definitely got to talk about Scaff Attack in this live. Once again, Scaff and this Nikola Jokic crap that he keeps putting out. And he has become the new Nick Wright of the LeBron James, of the Nikola Jokic fans. What Nick Wright is to LeBron James fans, Scaff Attack is to Nikola Jokic fans. We're going to talk about in this video. Again, man, I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states that continues to support my channel. You guys know I am truly, truly humbled. Shout out to all you guys, man, that continue to come through. Thank you very much. The true basketball fans out there. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these lives, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, once again, shout out to everybody that continues to come through. It means a lot. Shout out to Deal With It, RQSID. Shout out to you. Says Scaff is all facts, unlike Nick Wright. Yeah, we're going to talk about how, Scaff Attack is like Nick Wright. Not necessarily or about the lies per se or about the lack of facts or any of those kinds of things. We're going to talk about the excuses that Nick Wright or makes for LeBron James and how similar the excuses that Scaff Attack makes for Nikola Jokic. They're very similar. So shout out to you. Shout out to my man Bandhead. Shout out to Lynetta for coming through. Renee, what up? Shout out to my man Troy Black, Ivan, 1294. Shout out to you, Callie Young, Cameron MCOC. Deal With It. Andrew Music. Shout out to you for coming through. Chase 1738. You know the deal. Like I said, man, it means a lot for you guys to continue to come through. King Shai Solomon. Once again, you guys know the deal. I remember King Shai Solomon. He's the guy you guys told me is the GOAT James Kingdom clown, right? Once again, King Shai Solomon's here for the education because he's not getting on those clown channels over there. Shout out to Andre Carter. You guys know the deal, man. Much respect. Thank you, man. Best on YouTube right now. That means a lot. Shout out to my man AR, Armando Ruiz, always coming through. That's right. And on the seventh day, he ranted. You guys know we're going to be ranting today because I got some things to say, man. Straight up. Once again, like I said, thank you for all you guys for coming through. Old Gun, my man Ghetto C the General, man. Shout out to you, man. I hope you're doing good, man. Keep your head up, my man. Ghetto C the General, a true supporter. Thank you very much, man. Anthony Jefferson, thank you very much. Scared because he knows Kevin Durant could pass him. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting conversation when you think about comparing a Kevin Durant to a LeBron James. That's a real interesting conversation because both of those guys to me are just, man, it's suspect careers, man. You know what I'm saying? Resumes is questionable. Quietly, shout out to you. Thank you very much for coming through. Bernard Kemp, what up, man? 80s baby, you know the deal. David Young Sr., shout out to you guys for coming through. Lomo 12, what up? Ransom Ballard, what's up? Good morning to you guys out there, man, on a Sunday morning. I know people accuse LeBron stat padding while people like the locker room accuses Luka and Austin Reeves of doing the same thing. Make it make sense. Yeah, I told you guys, I'm not too familiar with the locker room dude, but I do know I've heard you guys mention before and how much of a LeBron James, apologist and fanboy, LeBron James fan club member he is. But I'm not too familiar with him. Shout out to CLW. But these guys, once again, they put the blame on everybody. Remember, everyone else is going to get the blame, right? Luka Doncic, everyone's going to get the blame. And we're going to talk about some of that stuff during this live. Shout out to my man, the Posh King. What up? Thank you for always coming through. A true supporter. The Third Eye. What up? Davion, what's going on? Troy Smith. Shout out to you guys. Yo, you guys coming in deep, man. Gritty Films. What's up? Shout out to you. Progressive Comfort. Thank you very much. Tyrone Langston. Again, you go. Like I said, man, it means a lot. Straight to the point. Sports, thank you very much. Shout out to you guys, man, for coming through. Like I said, man, you guys truly humble me. It really means a lot for you guys to come through on a Sunday morning, spend some time with me, listen to some of my rants, listen to some of my stories, and just listen to what I have to say, about, sports and basketball more specifically, and about a lot of the nonsense, that we hear out here. So thank you for continuing to roll with me. And like I said, you guys, it means a lot for you guys, when we're talking about setting the record straight, stopping the lies and the narratives. Now, like I told you, I want to talk about LeBron James and the stat pattern he did the other night, but I first want to start with the Scaff attack stuff. And, not really much. Like I said, let me first say this. Again, guys, you know that I used to do a lot of content with Scaff attack. I think some people think that this is me trying to get Scaff attack's attention or something like that, or trying to get into some back and forth with him, like I'm Isaiah Thomas and he's Michael Jordan, and I'm trying to get his attention, because I've seen some of the people, the Scaff fans try to say that I'm desperate for his attention, and that's why I've made some of these videos over the last, month or so. Let me be very clear. Again, first, I've never told anybody out here, and I'm not promoting anyone to unsubscribe to Scaff Attack's channel, or to not subscribe to his channel if you haven't already, or to not, support his channel, or not to like his channel or watch his videos. I've never said any of that kind of stuff. I've said, and I'm going to continue to say, his Nikola Jokic content to me is crap. Crap content, all right? Crap content. To me is contradictory to everything that he promotes Kobe Bryant and the way he promotes Kobe Bryant. I have a problem with that. Number two, when we talk about me wanting his attention or to try to get into a back and forth with Scaff Attack, like I said, you guys know, if you guys have been around from the beginning, I used to do content. We used to do live streams with Scaff Attack all the time. So a lot of the things that I've had or I've said about Nikola Jokic, or my feelings towards the way he promotes him, because remember, it's about the promotion of Nikola Jokic. It's not about him, the player. It's about the promotion of him by his fan base, by the media, by someone like Scaff Attack. I told you, that's my problem here. So this is not about me getting his attention, because I've had his attention before, and I've been in his presence, and I've said these things before. If you guys have been around, you've seen the back and forths that me and Scaff have had. We've had some heated moments out there on them live streams, guys. Like I said, if you've been around, you know this. So again, this is not about getting his attention, or, like I said, me trying to get some clout or gain some notoriety by having a back and forth with Scaff Attack. That's not what this is about. If he never sees my videos, never responds to me, no, I don't give a damn. The facts still remain. It's about setting the record straight. On any channel that I've seen, you guys send me something. So understand that off the jump, all right? This is never going to be about, me having to try to get some attention, or, like I said, I'm desperate to get into a back and forth with Scaff Attack. Like I said, like I'm Isaiah Thomas with Michael Jordan. Now, ain't nothing like that. So again, I want to make that very, very clear off the jump. Shout out to my man Jordan versus LeBron, because shout out to you, because I was watching your video earlier and you prompted me, or you were one of the reasons why I wanted to include Scaff Attack in the promotion of Nikola Jokic that he's been putting out here, this nonsense. I'm not with it. I told you, I'm not with the promotion, of a lot of these players today. So when I'm hearing about, Scaff making excuses for Nikola Jokic about the Oklahoma City Thunder and the game the other night, once again, shout out to my man Ticket TV, also because, he's been having this, back and forth with Scaff Attack, and they have, their own thing. That's not me. I'm not involved in that. But, I have my own thing with Scaff Attack and the promotion and things that he says. But I was watching my man Jordan versus LeBron video earlier, and when I hear things about Scaff, promoting the Oklahoma City Thunder as, possibly the greatest defensive team of all time, and, we're hearing, the historical talk, that's my problem. Because Scaff, to me, is not a historical basketball guy. To me, I don't believe he understands and has historical context and perspective. And I'm not saying that I am a historian. I've never called myself a historian on my channel. I've never once said I'm a historian of basketball. I represent the 80s and the 90s. That's what I know. I know that stuff, man. But I've never considered myself a historian of the game. But I tell you right the hell now, I can tell who are historians of the game. I know the people who are historians of the game, or who I view as historians of the game. And I've told you guys, when I've seen channels like Too Raw for TV, a.k.a. Dark Apocalypse, once again, I told you, his mama named him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay. So he's going to be Too Raw for me, damn it. But to me, he's way more of a historian than I am, and he's way more of a historian than Scaff Attack would ever be. So to me, Scaff Attack is one of those people of the ilk of a guy that if he wants to talk about the NBA from 2010 and beyond, I have no problem with that. He wants to give you the breakdowns of the numbers from 2010 and beyond. I have no problem with that. If that's what he wants to reference to when he's talking about historic, then I have no problems here. But that's not what he's talking about. When he mentions Nikola Jokic in the promotion, and when you're talking about the excuses that you're making for an Oklahoma City Thunder team. So once again, we're going to talk about these kinds of things, this specific stuff. Yo, I'm telling you right now, he better not win the MVP this year. He better not win the MVP. He better not win. Yo, shout out to my man, Jesse Glass-Saget. Okay, hold on a second here. See, because this is what happens now. You have the Scaff Attack fans in here that really are not listening to the message. We're not listening. You're not hearing me. He says being mad at Scaff for spitting facts. I don't understand what that means, but let's reread this again. Being mad at Scaff for spitting facts, I'm assuming is what you say, is on you, bro, and no one else. So you're telling me that Scaff is spitting facts about Nikola Jokic? What facts is he spitting? You can't even point to the facts he's spitting. And I've done it in my videos. I broke it down. Scaff Attack is not giving you facts about Nikola Jokic. He's giving you excuses for Nikola Jokic. That's what he's doing. You weird Nikola Jokic fans, you are LeBron James fans, and you don't even know, my man. RQ Sid or whatever it is, you are a LeBron James fan right now. I'm not mad at Scaff. Did I say I'm mad at Scaff? Who said I was mad at Scaff? I said I'm saying the record straight on Scaff, you fool. So again, you're not listening to what I'm saying here. When I tell you guys, and when I say that there's no way in hell Nikola Jokic is winning a single MVP in the 90s, you prove me wrong. You tell me I'm lying. That's the facts right there. And Scaff knows these things. So when we talk about historically, and you're talking about the 3 MVPs this man has won, they're weak MVPs. I respect him. I'm not saying he robbed guys and he should have never won MVPs and all this and that. I'm telling you them are weak MVPs, man. Weak as hell. He was never winning MVPs as the best player on the best team in the NBA. And what do you guys say? Oh, he got no help. He got no help. This is what you guys say. He ain't playing with nobody. He ain't playing against nobody. But he needs to play with somebody? Make that make sense to me. So ain't no man at Scaff. We send the record straight on Scaff. So understand that. This ain't no, you see, they trying to make it weird here. Yeah, that's on you, bro, because he's spitting facts. He's never spit a single fact on Nikola Jokic. What Scaff gives you on Jokic is emotions, right? His feelings that he feels. Oh, I feel this way. Because remember, Scaff Attack became a Nikola Jokic fan to combat LeBron James stuff. So understand that's his origin story, right, for this. So you're fake as hell off the jump. You were never a legit Nikola Jokic fan because you really like Nikola Jokic. You became a Nikola Jokic fan because he was an anti-LeBron James for Scaff. So like I've said before, I have no problem with Nikola Jokic or his Scaff Attack LeBron James stuff. I got no problem with his Kobe stuff. But if you listen to his Kobe stuff, that contradicts Nikola Jokic stuff. So I've told you, how can Scaff now argue that Kobe Bryant's greater than Nikola Jokic? To me, it's impossible based off the videos that he's made on Nikola Jokic, the things that he said, the excuses that he's made. 3-time MVP winner. Scaff said he should have won, 4 or 5 in a row. Has Kobe Bryant won multiple MVPs? And Scaff promotes Nikola Jokic's numbers. Historic. Does he promote Kobe Bryant's numbers historically? Does he promote all this stuff for Kobe Bryant? No, he'll tell you that Kobe Bryant should have won an MVP here. He should have won an MVP there. But Nikola Jokic should have won 4 in a row, 5 in a row. So how strong is Nikola Jokic's era? Is Nikola Jokic winning all those MVPs over Kobe Bryant every year? Is that what Scaff's going to tell you? He's winning them over Tim Duncan every season, and Kevin Garnett, and Jason Kidd, and Allen Iverson, and Steve Nash, and Dirk Nowitzki. He's winning all those MVPs over all of those guys all those years? Is that what Scaff is going to argue? Which way can he go here? He's painted himself into a Nikola Jokic corner. That's what he's done. So, like I've said, the Nikola Jokic fan base, you guys don't have a leg to stand on here because you guys laugh at this era as being weak when it comes to LeBron James. But when it comes to Nikola Jokic, you hype up his numbers. That doesn't make any sense This is why I've said Scaff, his origin story for this, it puts him in a weird position. He's contradicting himself. He laughs at LeBron James competition all these years. We laugh at the era LeBron James playing in. We laugh at the no defense, the load managing, the flopping around all these guys do, the play-in tournament, the in-season tournament. Isn't Nikola Jokic playing in the same freaking era? Didn't Nikola Jokic play in the bubble? So we laugh at the bubble. Nikola Jokic played in the bubble. He won the MVP during the bubble season. They'll tell you LeBron James got robbed for that MVP. Oh, he should have won that MVP. That was Nikola Jokic's first MVP, the bubble season. The year after he lost to the Portland Trailblazers in the playoffs, and he was going against Enes Freedom. Enes Freedom. When they were up 3-2, and they lost the last 2 games and lost in Game 7 to the Portland Trailblazers with Damian Lillard and Enes Freedom. Once again, no doubt, shout out to Nikola Jokic fans. Y'all weird as hell. So again, man, once again, shout out to all you guys, man. He ain't giving the facts. I'm giving you the facts here. All right? TG, shout out to you. DC33. No one's mad. There's no one mad. Just remember that. There's no one mad. I got the facts here. All right? Enes Freedom, guys. That's who he was going against. Nikola Jokic went against Enes Freedom and the Portland Trailblazers in 2019. All right? And got bounced out after being up 3-2. But what was Scaff Tech? Because I brought that up to Scaff Tech's face on the live show. What did Scaff say? You guys want to hear what Scaff Tech's excuse was? A classic LeBron James fan excuse. He said he was young. He said Nikola Jokic was young. He said, look how old he was. This is what we're doing? This is what we're doing. Again, so when I hear that, or I see the situation that unfolded against the Oklahoma City Thunder the other night, and we're talking about Lou Dort and the situation with Lou Dort. Shout out to my man, hit him for coming through. Always, man. You know the deal. It's really laughable. You know, you had people getting upset and calling Lou Dort a dirty player. All right? And yeah, we're gonna talk about this. Shout out to my man Ivan, 1294. So they were Demetrius, what up? Shout out to all you guys for coming through. So again, when we talk about, the situation unfolded with Lou Dort the other night with the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? And, I'm watching this play and I see what Lou Dort does. And I want to tell you guys something, man. I think a lot of people, they're not understanding a lot of times when I post things to my channel, right? People they miss the point. They're looking like, I don't get, like, they're trying to find something that they think that I'm trying to point out or say. Then they miss the point, right? They're trying to look, or they're looking past the obvious. So when I see the situation with Lou Dort unfold, right? And I see the play that he makes. Was that a quote-unquote dirty play by Lou Dort? Yeah, we can question or whether or not that's the kind of play that you want to happen to you out on the basketball court, right? If someone does that to you, are you going to take offense to this kind of thing? Man, maybe you would, right? You're running down the court and someone sticks their butt out into your leg area when you just came back from a leg injury, right? So understanding, Nikola Jokic's reaction, no one's talking about or, having a problem necessarily with his reaction. The thing about it is this. That kind of play that Lou Dort did during that game, during that situation right there, these are the kinds of plays that happened regularly in NBA games, guys, back in the day. And I'm not trying to sit here as the old guy or the quote-unquote old guy and say, oh, back in the day, this, and this. But I'm talking about the way they promote the guys today. That's the problem. If you're promoting the guys today as bigger, stronger, faster, more skilled, right? We know all the things that they say, right? If you're promoting these guys as tougher, all of this stuff, if you're going to promote the game that way, these guys are the great, great athletes, right? The guys back in the day couldn't play today. If you're going to say that, and I see a play like that happen, then in my mind, what I'm thinking is this is an everyday play, a play that happens regularly, that people just play through. Was that a flop on Nikola Jokic? Yeah, to me, that was a little bit of a flop on Nikola Jokic. Was he trying to sell something there? Yeah, possibly. But this is the problem. And I pointed this out when I posted this up. Lu Dort, right? He's gained a reputation now, right? In this league over the last, 2 or 3 years, let's say, as being a guy who's going to be a hard-nosed defensive player, a guy who's going to mix it up, and a guy who might be dirty, right? I've seen the videos. I've seen people talk about him. So yes, we can question this. I've seen the plays. Someone like Lu Dort has to play that way to make up for lack of skills, right? To make up for lack of athleticism, right? Those kinds of things. This is what he needs to do. He needs to be a Patrick Beverley type of player, right? Where you're on the edge between being dirty and being a hustle, hard-nosed player. There's a thin line there between being Charles Oakley and Bill Laimbeer, okay? There's a thin line, right? When we talk about what Draymond Green does, right? Some of the players, you think about someone like Ron Artest, right? You think about the thin line that's there between these kinds of players. So when you think about Lu Dort and you think about that situation, to me, this is a perfect scenario where for Nikola Jokic, these are the moments where you're supposed to stand up, right? And not allow someone like Lu Dort to knock you down like that. Like, to me, like, the whole situation, I don't know, it was weak. It was weak. Because, like I said, when you watch the game, Nikola Jokic was doing a lot of complaining. When you listen to Nikola Jokic fans, what have I told you? They're guarding this man with Lu Dort. They're guarding him with Alex Caruso. These are the guys guarding Nikola Jokic. It's really weird when you look at the defensive strategy they use and utilize against Jokic and how effective it could be because Nikola Jokic doesn't play the game that he should be playing, really. So when you're at the top of the key and you're trying to run the point guard at the center and everyone's celebrating you for this, in these kinds of moments, you should be giving the ball to somebody else, posting up these small fools and abusing these clowns, getting Lu Dort's punk butt up off of you. Who the hell is Lu Dort? Lu Dort? You should be beating Lu Dort down. I mean, this is insane. I don't understand how, he's allowing them to punk him with Lu Dort and Alex Caruso, Chet Holmgren. So, Scaff will promote the competition for Nikola Jokic now. The same way Nick Wright promotes the Golden State Warriors for LeBron James. This is becoming Nikola Jokic's Golden State Warriors. Oh my God, woe is Nikola Jokic. He can't beat the OKC Thunder because they're the greatest defensive team of all time. The greatest defensive team of all time now? The OKC Thunder? This is where we're going with it. This is where we've gone, guys. Again, shout out to all you guys out there. Deal with it. That's what I'm talking about, man. Shout out to Troy Black, like I said, for you guys. Dana Green, what up? Caruso was a secret weapon. Right? Caruso, man. Alex Caruso. And this is no disrespect to Alex Caruso, man, because he's one of them dudes that you need on your team. He's a good player, right? He's a guy who gives effort on defense. He's a really good player, man, for you to play, a really good role player to have on your team. There's no knock on him. But Nikola Jokic is letting these dudes come out there and do him like that. You ain't, like I said before, Scaff wants to talk about and make excuses. And listen, no one has ever promoted Nikola Jokic for playing on super teams. No one's ever said Nikola Jokic is trying to build super teams. No one says that I don't respect his game. I've never said any of this kind of stuff. Man, I've said Nikola Jokic is great for his era. We have to keep it consistent here. And we have to live in reality. We can't get historic here with a lot of this stuff. Because the era that we're witnessing, to me, it's not allowing this stuff to be a historic conversation. Are we going to sit here and deny that the OKC Thunder is a great defensive team? Hell no. They're a great defensive team, the OKC Thunder. They've been great the last couple of years. They've been up there. This is why they won a championship, right? Because of the defensive pressure that they can put, right, from several different players. However, we're going to talk about historic, then we have to keep it 100 here, right? So to speak. And talk about where they rank in their era. Are they an all-time great defense? Yes, for their era. If we want to talk about how great they are and what they can do on the defensive end, then we're going to sit here and talk about them possibly being the greatest defense of their era. That's what we're talking about. If you want to tell me they're the best defense over the last 10 seasons, you want to argue that? You want to make an argument about that for some other teams? Then we can make arguments about that. But there's no way in hell that you're going to sit here and tell me that the OKC Thunder are the greatest defensive team of all time, or they're one of the top defensive teams in the history of the game, because of the era that they're playing in is weak as hell. I'm not accepting that, especially when that's the excuse that you're using for why Nikola Jokic can't win or why he won't win. Are we really trying to make the Oklahoma City Thunder out to be Ivan Drago and Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets are poor little Rocky Balboa, the underdog like this? This is insane, man. I don't want to hear this nonsense. The Thunder ain't that great, man. They're a great team now. Right now. They was in a game 7 to the freaking Pacers last season, and Halliburton went down. Halliburton went down in game 7, man. They're an injury away from probably losing the championship. Are you kidding me? The Pacers, to me, had the magic. They had the magic going on. They were the ones coming out with the crazy wins. Halliburton was choking on the Knicks. Are you kidding me right now? That man last season, and I'm not even a Halliburton fan, but this freaking guy was making shots. It was like, oh, if they have the ball late and the game is close, you were like, yo, you don't want Halliburton shooting, man. That's the sense I was getting last season when this dude was doing his thing. I'm not a Halliburton guy. Have you heard me promote that dude? But what he did against the Knicks last year, what he was doing against the Thunder, what he was doing in all these rounds, I told you, man. He was doing this on the Knicks. Come on, man. He went down. That guy went down. It ain't like Halliburton. It's just some dude that was, having a decent series or a guy that was having an okay playoff run. The man was... Come on, man. Come on. The Thunder lost what? How many games they lost in the playoff run last year? 7 games? They went in game 7 with the Nuggets. And they could have won that series, the Nuggets. But Nikola Jokic wasn't fantastic. Was he MVP Jokic? Did he raise his level of play like Michael Jordan? And I don't want to hear why are you bringing up Michael Jordan? Nah. I don't want to hear none of that crap. Because all I just heard the other day from the Nikola Jokic people is that he's the greatest one-on-one basketball player in the history of the game. And he's a greater offensive player than Michael Jordan, in fact. So if that's the damn case, then my man should be having no problem out here with these defenses. You should be having no damn problems out here. You trying to tell me something? Come on, man. Yo, what are we doing here? Yo, remember the OKC Thunder in the playoffs last year? I don't know if you guys remember, because I talked about this in a video last year. Because there were several teams. Remember, I talked about how teams were getting blown out last year. Even the really good teams were getting blown out. You guys remember last year the OKC Thunder lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves? Hold on. It's going to come to me. I just thought about this. It was 143 to 143 to 100 or 101. They lost by over 40, the Thunder last season. The greatest defense of all time gave up 143 to the Minnesota Timberwolves, the 2025 Timberwolves. Come on, man. Come on, guys. Come on. This is insane. It's insane. It's like I said, the things that they promote. So when you talk about Scaff talking about the OKC Thunder, and I put those polls out, right? And, when you talk about the Thunder, like I said, and we're talking about what they've done over the last couple of seasons, what they're doing this year, what they did last year, right? All the number one defense, the plus differentials, all this stuff, the numbers. Remember, me and Scaff got into it last year because he was promoting the Thunder as probably arguably the greatest defensive team or the greatest team ever last year. But why was he making this argument? He was basing it off of the numbers that they're putting up in their weak era. So great. Yes, if you want to argue over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years, the Thunder are the best team. They're the best defense. If you want to use the numbers over the last 5 years to make your argument for the best team over the last 5 seasons, then by all means, use those numbers and make that argument. You can't use those numbers and then promote them and then compare it and try to extrapolate this to the other eras. Because what we've seen, at least over the last 5 seasons, because it's gotten really bad to me since the COVID season, guys. To me, it's got real bad. To me, it started going downhill about 2015, somewhere around there. But when you talk about the lack of officiating standard, the lack of defensive effort, not even that, but the way they allow guys to, they don't even let guys play defense. Guys can't be physical today. When guys start being physical, like when you've seen it become, oh man, they're letting it be a little bit more physical, guys start complaining about it. You got guys crying and moaning. Like, I'm like laughing, like guys are getting upset when guys are pushing them a little bit. I'm like, yo, this is just normal basketball, isn't it? And guys are like, yo, why are you pushing me? Dude, like, what do you mean why are they pushing you? Like, I'm confused sometimes watching this stuff. Guys get attitudes on the court when guys are being physical with them. Like, they can't just move to a spot on the court. They got to have the freedom of movement. It wasn't allowed to be that way. I want people to understand something. Yo, again, shout out to all you guys. Oh, forgive me, man. Damn it. You guys send me out supers, man. We rambling on, man. Scaff has fallen from grace. Shout out to my man Swan Daily. Scaff has fallen from grace. I used to love his content. Now he's sold out. He went from Wilt is the go-to. Jokic is above criticism in 3 years. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. Like I said, when you think about his content, and I told you, when you think about Scaff and the way that he talked about his all-time rankings, when we've done these live, man, we did our top 10 rankings all time on a live show, right? We did this stuff, right? We talked about some of these things. And remember, Scaff made a point to mention and highlight that a big part of what went into his decisions for a lot of those players was their two-way play, right? That was a big deal for him. It wasn't the only thing, but that's what he mentioned was a big part of why a lot of the guys were in the top 10 that he had. That was his feeling. You can't really make that argument for Nikola Jokic. Are you going to sit there and argue that, like I said, by Scaff's metrics, he has to be probably arguably a top 10 player already. You have some people already calling him the greatest player of all time. I mean, guys, this is where we are now. So if you're using Scaff's metrics for Nikola Jokic, it doesn't hold up. Also, I've told you guys before, when you talk about, what my man Swan Daily talks about falling from grace as it pertains to the Nikola Jokic stuff. When you talk about the Kobe Bryant stuff, when you listen to Kobe Bryant, Scaff's Kobe stuff, what does he promote Kobe about? He promotes Kobe about his two-way play. We just mentioned that. But he also promotes Kobe's competition. He's big on telling you, accurately, by the way, I'm not saying he's lying or pumping up Kobe Bryant, falsely. He's highlighting and talking to you guys about the 50-win teams that Kobe Bryant went against. That's one of the main points of his argument for Kobe Bryant. Oh, look at the competitive era he was in. He's in the dead ball era. He's going against all these stacked teams in the Western Conference, right? Like, he talks about all the adversity for Kobe Bryant, all of the struggles, all the stuff he had to overcome. And what does he do for Nikola Jokic? He never mentions the competition. He makes excuses and then tries to pump up the competition to do what? To say, oh, he ain't got no help. So he excuses him not being great. He don't have to be great, which he wasn't last season. He don't have to be great. Kobe Bryant had to be great for his teams to win. He couldn't lollygag. He couldn't be mediocre. He couldn't be okay. He couldn't be missing free throws in the fourth quarter like Nikola Jokic was last season. He couldn't be doing this, not playing defense and not having an impact on both sides of the ball. That's how you win. but you won't keep that same energy for him. So now the Thunder are the greatest team of all time now. They're the greatest defense of all time. They're better than the 60s Celtics now, right? All of a sudden now they're better than the 80s Pistons now. The Thunder, greatest defense of all time. They're better than the 2000 Spurs. They were like the number, like top 3 defense for like 20 years in a row. I mean, the Spurs were a top defense for an entire era. I mean, we're talking about like basically for 2 eras. Like Tim Duncan's greatness, his impact on defense, anchoring, it spanned 2 freaking eras. This is what he did. They were always great on D. You can hang your hat on the Spurs on D. You knew for a fact every year. And where's the results? Where's the results from the Spurs? How many 60-win seasons for the Spurs? How many times, once again, were they in the top on D? Because they were led by a generational defensive play like Tim Duncan, an all-time great defensive play like Tim Duncan. What all-time great defender is leading the OKC Thunder's defense? And again, I'm not saying that they're not a great defensive team. No one's arguing them not being a great defensive team. We're talking about historically. You're trying to, once again, act as if they're the greatest team of all time on defense now, and you're excusing Nikola Jokic not having to be great, not having to raise his level of play, not having to do these kinds of things. And then when they don't work out, you blame the teammates. That's LeBron James fan stuff, man. Yo, shout out to the lonely one. They'll say anything now. No integrity. Keep stopping those lies and narratives. You know the deal. These are the facts out here, man. All right? Scaff is, I can tell you, he's promoting Nikola Jokic through the lies and the narratives, man. Just like Nick Wright's promoted LeBron James. You're making excuses. Like I said, now the Thunder are like the Warriors, from 2017 or something like that. Oh, Nikola Jokic, now you're excusing him, right? He don't have to win. All he needs is another MVP trophy. So let's give Nikola Jokic his 4th MVP this season. It don't matter if he wins because we've already made the excuse. That's LeBron James stuff. Oh, we celebrate the numbers. Let's give him an accolade. He don't need to win because his team ain't great enough. He's going against an unbeatable team that we almost saw Tyrese Halliburton beat with his Indiana Pacers team. How stacked are the Pacers? Are the 2025 Pacers one of the greatest teams of all time now? Like the Indiana Pacers now, like you have to ascend them now. All of a sudden now the 2025 Pacers are one of the greatest teams of all time by default because essentially they lost because their best player got hurt in Game 7. Not in Game 1, not in Game 2. In Game 7, he got hurt. In the game. And remember, like I said earlier, Tyrese Halliburton was, quote-unquote, cooking during the entire playoff run. That man was hitting shots. Like I said, he was doing this on the Knicks. He was doing everything that you didn't want him to do when you were watching him as an opposing fan. It was like, come on, man. This is getting insane. This is why I was frustrated with the Knicks. Again, shout out to you guys out there. He said, see, you have weird Nikola Jokic fans out here. I love when Nikola Jokic fans come out to the live. This dude, CD knowledge. You definitely don't know no basketball knowledge because look what he says. So, quote unquote, moments don't make you better. Just look at their game, bro. Jokic is far more versatile offensively than who? Than Michael Jordan? Oh, wait. So, let's see. This is what I'm saying. I guarantee you this person has no videos on their channel talking basketball. I guarantee you this person would never put themselves on camera. I guarantee you this person has never played sports a day in their life. Dude, what are you talking about? Jokic is not only a better offensive player, but he's also smarter than Michael Jordan. He's so smart. What would Nikola Jokic do with Scottie Pippen? What would he have done with Scottie Pippen? He would have done nothing because both of them, what did they do when they came in the league? Nikola Jokic did not make an all-star till his 4th freaking season. His 4th season in the league? He didn't make an all-NBA till what, his 5th year in the league? Nikola Jokic, the greatest offensive player, couldn't even come into a weak NBA and be a star, an all-star even. Never was. That guy you're telling me is a greater offensive player than Michael Jordan, is more quote-unquote versatile, but he's being guarded by Lou Dort. Lou Dort and Alex Caruso. That's how versatile he is on offense. He's guarding by nobodies. Lou Dort is a quote-unquote elite level defender in this era, my man. Lou Dort's not even in the NBA in the 90s, dude. Not even in the NBA. Alex Caruso? Ooh, I don't know. Remember, Bruce Bowen couldn't even make a team in the 90s, y'all. Remember that. Bruce Bowen couldn't even make a team. He's much better than Lou Dort is. So again, you can miss me with this weird stuff. I would love to see your video on Michael Jordan versus Nikola Jokic. Once again, tag me in the video when you make it. I'd love to see that video. I would love to hear the explanation because there is no explanation for it. I've never heard an explanation for it. Never heard one. He just throws out a word like versatile. He's smarter than Jordan. In what regard? He can't even win with the guys he has. He's so smart. He's so smart. I'm trying to figure. He's so smart. He needs all these excuses made for him. He's so smart he can't win. So smart, never won 60 games. Never led a team to a 60-game season. How many times have Denver Nuggets been a top 5 defense? Have they ever been never been a top 5 defense? Nikola ever had an impact on the defensive end like that? He ever been known as a defensive anchor? Has he ever made someone a Hall of Famer like Michael Jordan? He was smart enough to see Scottie Pippen, see something in him, and help develop that. What's Nikola Jokic done? I'm asking, who has he developed? What player are you like, oh yeah, Nikola Jokic, he made that. The guy couldn't even come in the league and make an all-star team. Man, you tell me how smart he is. That's some weird stuff out here, man. I'm telling you, this is Nikola Jokic weak fan base, guys. This is why I tell you, I feel bad for someone like Nikola Jokic because his fan base is really trash. When your fan base is promoting you as a greater offensive player than Nikola Jokic, who's never led the league in anything. He's never led the league in anything. Never. And he might lead the league this season playing 66 games, 67 games. That's weak. That's weak stuff from Nikola Jokic, man. Weak-ass stuff. Michael Jordan was leading the league and stuff, playing all the games, my man, going against elite-level defense, going against elite-level defenders. Nikola Jokic is going against Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein. These are the guys he's struggling against. What would he do against the New York Knicks? What would he do against bad boy Pistons? What would he do against Patrick Ewing and a Charles Oakley front line and an Anthony Mason front line? Like, what is he doing against these guys? He's going to be crying and moaning. He's going to be flailing out there. He's going to be looking around like wondering what's going on. I'm confused here. I'm just weird as how you guys can really put him in the same category as Michael Jordan offensively. Smarter player. So smart, he can't figure out how to play defense. I'm so confused when I watch this dude play sometimes, how he's playing the old AD. I'm just seeing how is that smart? It doesn't make any sense. You're talking about moments. He said moment. He mentioned moments. What moments did Nikola Jokic have, though? Does he have any moments? The moment I remember is when Anthony Davis hit a three-pointer in his face to win a game in the Western Conference Finals in 2020. I remember that. Did you remember that? He said MJ was just a nice scorer. All right, dude, tell me how old you are. What are you, 15, dude? Like, come on, let's be real here, man. Are you even old enough to be on the computer by yourself? MJ was just a nice scorer. He was a historic scorer, my man. Historic. What do you mean nice? He was historic. Dude, he's the highest average all time. That's not nice. That's historic. He's the most scoring titles all the time. That's historic, my man. The highest average in the playoffs, historic, my man. Right? The highest average in the finals, that's historic, dude. See, you guys trying to shortchange Jordan because you're trying to put him up. You lowered Jordan down to Jokic. You think about how far you brought Jordan down for this conversation, dude. That's how stupid you sound. He's a nice scorer. Goodness gracious. I don't even know where to begin sometimes with these kids, right? When you just think about when some of these statements, he's smarter than Jordan. Think about that, smarter than Jordan. So smart, he's getting out-duped by Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso? You think Michael Jordan's going to be confused going against the defense of the Thunder? They're going to have him figured out. Smarter than Jordan. Great. I didn't really think that people really believe this, but this is what Scaff has done. You see what I'm saying, guys? Scaff has got these guys so brainwashed with his Nikola Jokic crap. Like, he's greater than Kobe. You see what I'm saying? Yo, Scaff. Your people think that Nikola Jokic is way greater than Kobe. We're doing the LeBron James stuff. Oh, yeah, he's been past Kobe, Nikola Jokic. That's what we are. He's greater than Michael Jordan on offense. That means he's got to be way better than Kobe Bryant. If he's smarter than Michael Jordan, got to be way smarter than Kobe Bryant, right? So I'd be smarter than Kobe Bryant then. Got more MVPs than Kobe Bryant. We don't care about championships anymore. It don't matter about who you went against. It don't matter about none of this stuff. Nikola Jokic has not competed against an all-time great center his entire career. He's got to deal with Victor Wembanyama. That's going to be his competition now. A young Victor Wembanyama, who once again, we don't even know if he's going to be able to be healthy for an entire career. But Joel Embiid ain't been around. Who's the other guys? Zubac, Hartenstein, Robin Lopez, Brook Lopez, Bam Adebayo, Joel Embiid, who's never owned the basketball court, Rudy Gobert. These are the great, great centers right now, right? I mean, like, what are we doing here? Jaren Jackson Jr., Karl Anthony Towns. These are the guys that he's been competing against. I told you, he was going against Enes Freedom, Mason Plumlee, right? These are the guys that he's gone against in his career on other teams. Come on, man. Stop the nonsense out here with this crap. There's weird stuff out here from y'all. Talking about his numbers and the scoring. Oh, my God, man. Insane. The man ain't led the league in a damn thing. Russell Westbrook led the league in more stuff than Nikola Jokic has. Yeah, I'm supposed to be impressed? The hell out of here, man. Like I said, wake me up when Jokic wins without Murray. Wake me up when he does that. Y'all crying, moan about Murray. Let me know when he wins without him. Because every time that the Nuggets have made a run, they've been to 2 Western Conference Finals, 1 NBA Finals. Both times they went to those Western Conference Finals, Jamal Murray was clutch. Jamal Murray was doing his thing. He was helping Nikola Jokic out there. But they don't want to give him no love. Crap stuff. But then Scaff gets mad when people call Kobe a sidekick to Shaq. Weak stuff out here from Scaff and his fan base. I told you, these guys are trash. Straight trash to fan base. I'd be embarrassed if I was a Nikola Jokic fan. They trying to put me above Michael Jordan on offense. Goodness gracious. And the weakest how weak is this era for scoring and for numbers? I mean, my goodness. Nikola Jokic is a great player. I told you, but the promotion of him out of control. When you got people writing this in my chat, it's insane. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Terrence Potts coming through. Freedom of movement era is the best defensive era. Exactly. Because something that I was going to mention earlier is that what a lot of people don't realize about Michael Jordan, and you have kids out here saying things like, oh, Michael Jordan's a nice scorer. Again, they don't take into account all the effort and energy Michael Jordan expended on the other side of the ball. So when Nikola Jokic is lollygagging on defense, not only because he just is a lollygagger, he doesn't play defense like that on that level, he doesn't have to play defense. So like I've said before, if you played in the 90s where every night you're going against a center, you have to play defense. Whether you're going to be effective or not is irrelevant. You're going to have to give effort on defense. You're going to spend energy guarding Hakeem Olajuwon, guarding Patrick Ewing, guarding David Robinson, right? Guarding these guys, Shaquille O'Neal, Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, right? Every night, Brad Daugherty or Robert Parrish, they're going to force you to play and give effort on D. So all the energy that he never has to use on defense now, because the era is soft and you can lollygag and go through the motions on D and he can float around and put his hands up and try to get a steal here and get a steal there, right? That's not the same thing as what Michael Jordan was doing. And the energy and once again, the effort he was expending on a consistently nightly basis, plus doing what he was doing offensively. So you have kids out here like, oh yeah, he was a nice scorer. No, he was a historic scorer, but he was also an elite level defender. No, I'm not saying that Michael Jordan was the greatest defender of all time. But once again, he gave effort consistently because he had to. He had to give the effort, not just because he was great on defense and it mattered to him, but because he had to. Because every night, people were coming at him. So the point that it was leading me into was when we talk about the physicality of the game, when the great players were playing, how did they try to affect these guys on offense? What were things that they would do? They would run the Larry Birds, right? The Michael Jordans, the Magic Johnsons, right? The Kobe Bryants, right? They run these guys off of screens. They run these guys through picks. They run them around. And that's why Michael Jordan hated playing at the Pacers and guarding Reggie Miller, because they would run him off these hard screens. The New York Knicks, you ever watch the New York Knicks and what they did to Michael Jordan off ball? When the Bulls were on defense, they're ramming this dude on D. Oakley, Mason, they're laying Michael Jordan out. They're throwing shoulders. They're hitting him with elbows. They're tripping their leg out on him. They're doing all kinds of little things, man. I'm not saying it's dirty. That's called basketball, man. They're being physical because they were allowed to be that way. So they beat Michael Jordan up on both sides of the ball, man. That was part of the tactics and the strategies. Nikola Jokic ain't worried about this kind of stuff. There's no physical nature to the game. He's not battling his Karl Malone's elbows all night or dealing with Charles Oakley or Otis Thorpe or Buck Williams or Jerome Kersey or Charles Barkley. Like, you're not dealing with these guys night in and night out, every single night. Kevin Willis, right? You're not dealing with Kevin McHale, right? Larry Nance. Every night, you're dealing with a front line of guys that are elbowing you, that guys are banging into you. You're fighting for rebounds every night. You're falling over guys. Guys are stepping on your foot. You're getting your ankle twisted. Your knees getting twisted up. I mean, this is a regular common freaking thing. The things that they're crying about now, oh, Lou Dort is dirty. Lou Dort is freaking 6'5", 200 pounds. Nikola Jokic is 7 feet tall, 280. And that's like Shaquille O'Neal being worried about some of these guys out. You think Shaq was, look what they were doing to Shaq out there. Look what them dudes was doing to Shaq on the court. And you got dudes talking about Lou Dort. Shaq would have slapped Lou Dort off him like an insect. Lou Dort wouldn't have even thought about getting Shaq's way like that. Because Shaq would have leveled. You think Lou Dort's going to stick his butt out on Shaq? No. Because he knows Shaq would have ran Lou Dort down. Yo, he'd have ran him over. He wouldn't even felt him. He'd have stepped on Lou Dort, Shaq. Are you kidding me? But you got dudes today talking about, oh, Nikola Jokic will destroy Shaquille O'Neal. What? He can't move like Shaq. Nikola Jokic? Shaq will run down the court before Jokic could. What are y'all talking about? Come on, man. That's insane, guys. You still here because you're here to get the education. Come on, man. You honestly believe he's better than Jokic. Weird stuff out here, man. I don't get this stuff. It don't add up. Like I said, there's nothing factual that you can point to. There's nothing. There's no evidence that points to Nikola Jokic being successful in other eras against great defenses and great defensive big men. There's no evidence because anytime he's gone up against anyone that's you could say is remotely a great or good defensive player at those positions, he's lost. When he went against Anthony Davis, the Dwight Howard connection, right in 2020, he lost bad. Big time. Anthony Davis hitting shots in his face. They're blocking his shot. He's looking confused out there, right? You wasn't going against Enos Freedom, right? You weren't going against some of these other guys like Bam and Adebayo. That's who he beat in the finals. So again, when he's gone against guys that were stiff competition down low, the Thunder give you a little bit of resistance. All of a sudden, you fold up. Remember when they lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves a couple years ago? Going against Rudy Gobert? Rudy Gobert. He's the elite level defender now. So, hey, man, they lost to Minnesota Timberwolves with Rudy Gobert. Stop it. That's not Hakeem Olajuwon, guys. That's not Mutombo. That's not Ewing. It's not Ben Wallace. That's not Alonzo Mourning. It's nowhere close. Nowhere close, man. That's no knock on Gobert. He's not on that level. He's not. Come on, man. Insane. Like, to me, Nikola Jokic is like a white Brad Daugherty in the 90s, all right? He's like a white Brad Daugherty. No knock on Brad Daugherty. Because to me, Brad Daugherty was probably the best passing big man of the 90s, especially the early 90s into the mid-90s before he had the injuries and he retired. But when you talk about when Brad Daugherty first came in the late 80s, the early 90s, he was the best passing big man in the game. Similar body type as Nikola Jokic, right? They moved similarly on the court. He wasn't a great athlete, but he was a smart player, a really good passer. He could shoot good, Brad Daugherty. To me, that's Nikola Jokic in the 90s, man. He's Brad Daugherty. He's a really good center, but he's on the next tier, the lower tier. You're never winning an MVP. You're a Hall of Famer. To me, Brad Daugherty's a Hall of Famer without the injuries. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer, 6, 7-time All-Star. A really good player. A team that can compete for a championship with a Brad Daugherty. That's Nikola Jokic to me in the 90s. He's a Brad Daugherty. And like I said, there's no disrespect to either one of these guys. But to me, that's where he translates into as far as like when I see his game and what he could do, what it would translate into the 90s. Nikola Jokic, guys, is not dribbling the ball off the court in the 90s, guys. Any of you Nikola Jokic fans out there that think he's dribbling the ball off the court in the 90s and he's facing up on guys, you think he's facing up on Olajuwon? You think he's facing up on David Robinson? They're not going to allow him to dribble the ball up. Teams ran full court presses, half court traps. It's not going to happen. He's going to have to go down low. He's going to have to develop some kind of post game, whether the high post or the low post. He's not going to be doing his top of the key nonsense, facing up on Hakeem Olajuwon and all these guys every night. That's not going to get it done. There's some nights that'll work. Some nights, no doubt. But most nights, it's not going to happen, guys. I'm telling you right now, man. All right, so I'm giving you the facts here. All right, I'm educating you guys out here. If anyone knows that era, what I'm talking about, it's the facts, man. So again, what Scaff has done with Nikola Jokic, he's giving these guys the mind that Nikola Jokic is the greatest center of all time, right? And it's funny because, like I said, if he's always telling, when we've talked about, right, over the last, 10 years, how weak the NBA has been, right? They laugh at LeBron James. Oh, who is LeBron James going against? What is he doing? He's in a bubble. He's doing this. He's stacking teams and the era's weak and this and that. There are no dynasties out there. There are no powerhouse teams. Now you want to try to make it seem like there's a powerhouse team, the OKC Thunder. But who are the Thunder going against? Who are they beating? Who are they getting these wins against? They're beating teams that are sitting their starters. Guys are load managing, right? Teams are throwing up 40, 50 threes a game. So you're getting wins because teams are just not making any shots and they don't care. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, yes, I respect the Thunder. I think they're one of the great teams over the last several years. But if you remember, guys, just a couple of years ago, Scaff was promoting the Boston Celtics as one of the greatest teams of all time. The Boston Celtics, right? Oh, the Celtics. They're one of the, and we got into an argument about that team on the live show, if you guys remember being there. So again, I've always set the record straight when I talk about the historic perspective and the context that he never gives when it comes to Nikola Jokic and his fan base. There's no way that they think that he's entered in a conversation with Michael Jordan in any regard. In any regard. He hasn't even earned that right. His era is so weak. Who the hell thinks he's earned the right to be in a conversation with being the greater offensive player than Michael Jordan when you're being guarded by Alex Caruso in a playoff scenario? When Lou Dort is frustrating you? What do you think that Rodman would do to you in these scenarios? You want to be frustrated with Rodman? I'm confused, man. I just don't get it. You're going to be very frustrated dealing with a lot of those guys that I mentioned because they're going to be physical with you. They're going to be leaning on you all the time. They're going to be hitting you with cheap elbows. Ask David Robinson about Karl Malone's elbows. I posted a video like a year or so ago, a short, right? Karl Malone hit David Robinson in the side of the head with an elbow. David Robinson is 7 feet tall, is he not? He hit David Robinson side of the head with an elbow. David Robinson was knocked out before he hit the floor. I showed the video. You guys seen the video? David Robinson knocked out like this, guys, eyes closed, going down, knocked out, hits the floor like a ton of bricks from a Karl Malone elbow, guys. Guys, these were things that happened on the court. No one jumped on Karl Malone, right? Nobody was like, oh my God, we got to throw Karl Malone out the game. We got to eject him from the season. He should be suspended multiple games. Nothing, guys. That man went down to the ground. He was knocked out from an elbow. Bang. That was just an NBA play. That's what that was. So again, y'all can miss me with the Nikola Jokic, Lou Dort stuff. That's weak-ass stuff, man. Weak as hell. All right? I'm telling you guys right now, dudes are doing a lot worse things. Way worse. And those are regular common fouls, if anything, if they were called. They were regular common fouls. Guys, when either you could keep playing or you couldn't. Oh, guy did this. Hey, are you okay? Yo, guys, I remember when Scottie Pippen in 1990, right? 1989, when Scottie Pippen got elbowed by Bill Laimbeer in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? In Game 6, right? A lot of people forget that, but he took an elbow on a rebound from Bill Laimbeer, right? Hit him with an elbow in the head, right? Scottie Pippen went down, right? Knocked down, laying on the ground. Guys, they kept playing so long that when they went down and came back again. And they were playing the game. Guys, the referee grabbed Scottie Pippen and started to pull him off the court. Guys, they grabbed Scottie Pippen, the referee, after this man took an elbow to the face and was on the ground, laying there. They grabbed him and pulled him off the court. Guys, today, they stopped the game. Everyone, they got to review it. Everyone's raising, what's going on? Have you seen this? You've seen it. But they just kept playing the game back then. They didn't stop the game until it was an actual dead ball. That's when they blew the whistle. That's when the game stopped. Not because Scottie Pippen was on the ground and it was the Eastern Conference Finals and it was game 6 and they were playing 5-on-4 for like 3 freaking possessions. Nope. They kept playing and they pulled Scottie Pippen off the court. Oh my God. Guys, it's night and day. This is what we're talking about, guys. These are the kinds of differences. This is what Michael Jordan was dealing with. These are the eras that I grew up watching, guys. This is the comparison that I'm making to you. People are trying to talk about Nikola Jokic and the numbers. And yes, numbers are fantastic. That's great. But that's all he is. It's numbers, smoke screens, and mirrors. The numbers are not there when it mattered most. Where were those numbers in the playoffs last year? He put up really good numbers, but it wasn't the regular season numbers. So again, you want to hold Nikola Jokic to the same standard? No, you don't. You want to lower the standard in the playoffs. You want to make excuses in the playoffs, right? When he don't average those numbers, when he don't make the free throws in the fourth quarter, when he don't come up with those quote-unquote moments, he don't have those moments. Why? Because he didn't do the Michael Jordan type stuff or the Larry Bird type stuff. Does he have the moment with Magic Johnson when Kareem goes down and he comes in for 42 points? Did he do that last season or the year before? I mean, like this is what we're talking about, right? Does he have the moment? Does he have the moment with Larry Bird when he stole the ball in the inbounds? Like, do you have these moments? I mean, like, come on, man. This is what we're talking about. He don't have nowhere near the moments of a Michael Jordan, right? I don't understand it. We're just making excuse out here. Don't make any sense, y'all. Once again, shout out to all you guys for coming through. I know I'm missing a lot of you guys. Supers, forgive me, man. And I know I missed a lot of you guys' comments. I'm rambling on here. So forgive me. I didn't even realize I've been talking this long. My goodness, guys. I'm sorry, man. I'm talking for like an hour like this on some nonsense, man. But it's just like I can't believe some of the things that people are saying here. It's just crazy when we think about this. Jokic is all time in this no position era. If he had to do what centers needed to do historically, he doesn't compare. Yeah, once again, shout out to Jelly Johnsons. Remember, like I said, this is not about Nikola Jokic himself and me not respecting his game or his career or the MVPs that he's won or his championship. It's never been about that. I've told you, his championship run is weak. We all know the championship run is weak. The MVPs is weak because the competition is weak. When the Nikola Jokic fans downplay SGA, when they downplay all the other guys around him, that doesn't do anything for him winning MVP. Because all you're saying is, oh, he should win MVP every year. Why are you saying that? Because his numbers, not because his team is dominating. And then you'll say what? Oh, this guy's playing with this guy. This guy's playing with that guy. When really those guys are getting teammates to get accolades because of the team's success. So, for example, the Oklahoma City Thunder last year, none of these guys are all defensive team members. SGA's never made an all defensive team. Jalen Williams just made an all-defensive team. Lou Dort just made an all-defensive team. They just made all-star teams last year. Why? Because of the recognition they were getting because the team was winning games. Winning games. Why were they winning games, though? Not because they had so many great players and they're the greatest defensive team of all time and they have all these elite defenders. Because they had been developing for several seasons, drafting guys, building up a team. That's what the freaking Thunder did. They drafted guys. Remember all the draft picks they got from all the trades, right? The Durant stuff, the Russell Westbrook, the Harden stuff. They made all these moves. They built up a team. They drafted up a team. They built up a team. That's what happened. You saw the ascension of the Thunder, the development of SGA. That's what you saw. So because the Thunder started to win games, those guys got recognized. Nikola Jokic team don't win games because you playing this BS style of basketball. Let me stand at the top of the key. Nikola Jokic dribbling the ball up the court. Stuff was weird, man. Weak stuff. Out there getting assists, getting rebounds, great. But when it comes down to crunch time, it's Jamal Murray time, isn't it? Right? When you go against some stiff competition, all of a sudden Nikola Jokic takes 9 shots, right? Or he chucks up a bunch of threes. What do you go, 2 for 10 from the three-point line? 2 for 10. So the guy told me he's so smart, smarter than Michael Jordan, but he went 2 for 10 from the three-point line. Is that smart? That don't seem like smart basketball to me, but he was chugging up threes in that fourth quarter. He was chugging up threes in that overtime. That don't seem like smart basketball. I watched Nikola Jokic play against the New York Knicks about a month ago. Talked about in the video, right? This man took 13 threes. 13 threes, guys, went 1 for 13. And remember what I told you. He made his first three in that game in the second quarter and then proceeded to miss 12 straight threes. So again, Nikola Jokic is so smart that he went out there and missed 12 straight threes. So that means after he missed 5 in a row, he thought, let me take a 6th one. After he missed 10 in a row, he said, oh, let me take an 11th one. Weird stuff from Nikola Jokic. That's low IQ basketball, guys. That's what the Thunder are dominating. They're dominating low IQ basketball teams, basketball players in a low IQ era. Guys, I can't tell you anymore how many times I watch a basketball game and I see guys making dumb rotations. I see guys doing dumb basketball plays, turning down an open layup opportunity for a guy fading away in a three-point for a three. Weird basketball that you see out here. And then you look at the end of the game, the team went 17 for 48 from the three-point line, right? And they missed like 30 threes, right? And they're out there just chucking up a bunch of shots. And it didn't matter that they missed them or not. They're going to keep turning the layups down and throw it out to a three-point shot. This is why I tell you, it's great the numbers that these teams are putting up. Oh, the Thunder defense is this, the Thunder that. This is what they're dominating. They're dominating teams that load manage their best players, right? They're dominating teams that play dumb basketball. They're not dominating any hardcore powerhouse teams. There are a bunch of good teams in the NBA. No great teams. I'm supposed to believe that the Thunder would dominate the 2000 Spurs, or their defense is better than the 04 Pistons, or the 89 Pistons, or the 96 Bulls, or the 92 or 93 Knicks, or any of the Knicks teams from the 90s. I mean, like, I'm supposed to believe that their defense was better than the Boston Celtics in the mid to late 80s? I don't buy that. And one of the main reasons why I don't buy this stuff and why these excuses, once again, are weak as hell and his fan base is weak is because you can't point to an all-time great defender on that team. Do the Thunder have a bunch of guys that play defense and give effort on defense? Yeah, absolutely. SGA gives effort. Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Chet Holmgren, right? Isaiah Hartenstein, right? These guys are known. Jalen Williams, they're known for being guys that give effort on the defensive end. They have abilities on the defensive end. However, all those guys I mentioned, can you point to one elite all-time great defensive player on that team that's leading them defensively or anchoring them defensively? Do they have a Kevin Garnett on that team? Do they have a Scottie Pippen? Do they have, once again, a Tim Duncan? Do they have any of these guys that's anchoring your team? Do they have a Dennis Rodman that's anchoring your team defensively? Or Ben Wallace that will anchor your team? Or Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain? Do they have a guy who's anchoring your D, one of the great defenders of all time, a Mutombo, anchoring your team? Alonzo Mourning? Do you have an all-time great anchoring your D? Do you have anybody on that team that you can point to? But you know what, this guy they got? Do they have a Gary Payton on that team? They don't have any of them dudes. And I'm not trying to compare everybody to the all-time greats, but when you say that the Thunder are one of the all-time great defenses, you're making those comparisons. You're bringing in the all-time great defenders. You're bringing in all these teams now. And to me, that's invalid because to me, this era is soft and weak. So I'm not putting the Thunder over the last couple of seasons, the 2020s Thunder, up against some of the great defenses in the history of the game. To me, they're not qualified to be in that conversation. So again, guys, I don't want to spend any more time on this. I want to talk a little bit briefly on the LeBron James stat padding stuff briefly before I end the live stream and let you guys get on with your Sunday. Once again, good morning to all you guys. And it's almost afternoon now because I've been rambling on so long. And I didn't want to make this like a big Nikola Jokic thing, but this Scaff attack Jokic thing, it's gotten way out of hand now that you see what people are saying now. It doesn't add up. Yo, shout out to LHF Fitness or LH Fitness for coming through. Salute. I noticed Scaff don't criticize Luka too for his crying and flopping. He has a bias. Yeah, I mean, it's weird when you think about how people are trying to knock Luka Doncic now and blame Luka Doncic, right? Some of the LeBron James side of things. But at the same time, they never called out LeBron James for the things that he's been doing. So to me, it's really lame what Max Kellerman is saying right now, right? It's really lame what the guys are saying out here, the Nick Wrights, Chris Broussard. I saw something on AOA's channel. Comments by Chris Broussard. And all these guys are blaming Luka Doncic, for the problems with the Lakers and the inconsistency of the Lakers and his lack of defense. And they're saying he's crying and playing. I mean, you have Max Kellerman trying to promote the idea that the Lakers should maybe think about trading Luka Doncic. I mean, this is where you go. Think about what he does for your overall status. We've talked about this. LeBron, you play with LeBron James, everything goes down for you. Nothing goes up. Everything goes down. The only thing that goes up for you is your criticism. The focus on you goes up. The blame, all that goes up. Everything else, the credit you get, the accountability for you goes up too. You get all the accountability. But no one, once again, promotes what you're doing. I told you, they want Luka Doncic to be Michael Jordan. They want him to average 30 and play elite level defense simultaneously. That's what they want. They want him to be Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, right? They want, or Jerry West, one of these great all-time perimeter two-way guys that can shut you down the perimeter, play elite level defense, and give you 30, 40 points every night. I mean, that's insane. Only a few guys in the history of the game have been capable of doing those kinds of things. And it definitely wasn't LeBron James. Once again, shout out to all you guys, man. Heath Overledger, what up? Shout out to my man, KD and Ladner for coming through. I'm sorry if I jacked your name up. Robert, you need to be on the debate channels. I saw a video where they were debating best NBA duos. MJ and Pippen lost to Nikola and whoever his teammate was. I forgot his name. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is crazy stuff. Like Nikola Jokic and who? Murray? They're going to put as a better duo than Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen? Like, how does that even happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the kinds of things that we're saying. Like, this is where basketball debate has gone. And that's why it's hard. And that's why I'll never probably be on any of these kinds of channels. Like Scaff, he's trying to be, like, he's mainstream. I told you. Scaff is a numbers guy, analytic guy. He ain't never been on the court. He ain't never played basketball. He ain't playing sports like that, y'all. He wasn't watching this stuff in the 80s and the 90s. I told you, if Scaff wants to talk about the NBA from 2010 on, okay, man. But to me, the only reason why he knows about Kobe Bryant, who we all know is a 2000s era player, the only reason he knows about Kobe Bryant is because he's a Kobe Bryant fan. So he knows Kobe Bryant. He studied Kobe Bryant's career, like a LeBron James fan studied LeBron James' career. But they don't know the game like that. So when you talk and you hear Scaff, I told you, he never gives you historic context or perspective. And he can never give you the facts that way. He's giving you his emotions and opinions based over what he's seen since 2010. I told you, everything that he promotes Kobe Bryant with contradicts Nikola Jokic stuff. That's why I said it's funny, and I would love to know like where he has Kobe Bryant ranked versus Nikola Jokic now. I would love to know that. Shout out to you for coming through. Again, like I said, man, much respect to all you guys, man. It means a lot. Shout out to McZuggins for coming through. Anything less than of all time is a knock now. Modern era is made for Swifties, not basketball fans. Cheers. Yo, shout out to McZuggins, because that's a really great point that you're bringing up. That's what the problem is. Like, Scaff can't just promote Nikola Jokic and say something like I've told you, if Scaff wants to make an argument that Nikola Jokic is now approaching greater than LeBron James all-time status, greater than Steph Curry all-time status, greater than Kevin Durant all-time status, or Kawhi Leonard, or James Harden, Russell Westbrook, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo. If he wants to argue that Nikola Jokic is greater all time than any of those guys that have played in the NBA over the last, 10, 15 years, if that's what his argument you're going to make, then that's great. Promote him that way. Promote him against those guys. I'm not saying he has an argument or not, but that to me is more of a qualifying debate. That to me more makes sense. Okay, I'm going to debate Nikola Jokic. He might be greater than those guys all time. Okay, man, you want to debate him versus them guys? Then have your debate and you can say, hey, I think he's great. But that's not what they do. When we hear these guys on the microphone, right? Do they say or talk about themselves versus their contemporaries? Nope. What do they say? Oh, I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time, right? Andre Drummond called himself the greatest rebounder of all time. And what does this do? This forces us to do what with Andre Drummond? To set the record straight on you. So, there's no knock on Andre Drummond because he's a really good rebounder. Is he not? Yes, he is a really good rebounder, Andre Drummond. But it forces us to put you in your proper context and say, dude, hold on a second here. You're a very good rebounder for the era that you played in, man. And you are one of the best rebounders of your era. but historically, you are not the greatest rebounder of all time. You're not close to the top 3 or top 5 rebounders in NBA's history. So when you say you're the greatest rebounder, it forces people to make you look like a fool by trying to put context and perspective behind what you're saying, which makes us come across as quote-unquote haters. Oh, you're a Nikola Jokic hater. You're a LeBron James hater. You're hating on Steph Curry. You're hating on Kevin Durant. You're hating on James Harden. You're hating on this guy. No one's hating. We're putting context and perspective behind this stuff. All right? I've even been called a Kobe Bryant hater because I didn't put Kobe Bryant above Michael Jordan, or I don't think that Kobe Bryant's, better defensively than Michael Jordan. You have people that think that Kobe Bryant's a better defensive player than Michael Jordan. Or he's a better shooter than Michael Jordan. I don't buy this stuff, man. I don't buy it. Remember, Scaff thinks that Shaq and Kobe is the greatest duo of all time. And we've gone back and forth about that because I don't agree with that either. But to me, at least that's more of a debate to have, more of something that you can have a fun debate with. Michael Jordan, Pippen versus Kobe and Shaq. This Nikola Jokic stuff is weak as hell. This is just weak crap content, I told you guys. It doesn't add up. But this is what it is. Everything's about all time. The Thunder, the greatest team of all time now. The best defense of all time. Right? LeBron James, all time. Everything's all time. He's going against the best teams of all time. No one else played against great defenses but LeBron James. Only LeBron James played against great teams in the finals. No one else did. Larry Bird Sellers weren't playing against great teams. Right? Magic Johnson Sellers weren't playing against great teams. Right? Dr. J Sixers didn't have to beat great teams to try to make a championship. Right? Like no one played against great teams. Like Patrick Ewing wasn't going against Michael Jordan's dynasties. Like Karl Malone and John Stockton didn't have to play against Michael Jordan's dynasty in the freaking finals. Gary Payne and Sean Kemp, like no one played against great teams. Will Chamberlain have to go against the dynasty Celtics every freaking year? Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. They didn't have to play against the Celtics? I don't get it. Like when you think about some of the teams back in the day, like, Jumpin' Joe Folks, like he was going against George Mikan's teams. Like some of these teams, these guys were great players going against dynasties, powerhouses, some of the greatest teams of all time. That's not what you got right now. That's not the case. And that's what they're trying to make it seem for LeBron James. Every team he played in the finals is one of the top 5 teams in NBA's history. Every year, these teams are unbeatable. It's insane. This is what we do now. So like I've said, Scaff Attack and Nick Wright, they're on a similar trajectory, right? They got similar sound and voice. They got a similar style to them. And they've never played the sport that they're talking about. And they have no context and perspective historically about basketball. Neither one of them fools. That's the facts here, man. And Scaff has turned to a Nikola Jokic fan strictly, and we all know Nick Wright's only a LeBron James fan. So shout out to McZuggins. These are facts out here, man. We're going to talk about LeBron James stat pad. This man was in a game last night, in a game the other night. Yo, shout out to Praise the Don. Yeah, he's great, but greatest offensive player, hell no. Nah, as I'm saying, man, listen, man. You can't be like I said. I'm not putting Nikola Jokic up there with Michael Jordan. Shout out to Praise to Don. Demetrius Marcel. Shout out to you for being a member for 4 months, man. The biggest issue I have with the NBA is that the coaching has been de-emphasized. It's a stars league, but to me, a head coach is an institution. Yeah, see, because that's the thing. When we talk about the coaches, and I think we all agree and understand. Coaches are important in the NBA to a degree. Coaching matters to a degree. When you talk about coming out of the half, right? I've told you guys, when you talk about coming out of the half, well, that's when a coach is valuable. Because why are you, or what are you doing during the halftime? You're usually making what they call halftime adjustments. That's what the responsibility of the coach, but not only the coach, the coaching staff. So a lot of times the coach is only as good as the staff he puts together, right? You're only as good as the guys you got there. But how did those guys get there? They got there because you put them there. So the guys that are doing the job for you, so they are able to give you the information when you go into the half, because the coach is coaching, man, right? The other coaches, they're the ones making the notes on the bench. They're the ones writing the little things down that they're seeing, right? So when the halftime comes and they're conferring and they're having their little huddle and they're going over the notes that the other coaches came up with, the coach comes up with an assessment of this, right? And once again, he takes the assessment of everything they give him, and then he makes an adjustment, right? Or he says, hey, what we're doing is working. Let's stick to this. Or he says, listen, let's scrap the game plan and let's try X, Y, Z. That's the coach. That is important. When you talk about coming out of a timeout, When you talk about a late game scenario and you need a basket and you got to draw something up, that's when a coach matters. All the other stuff is on the players, man, right? All the other stuff, they got to go out there and play the game. So we all know the players are the ones that get most of the responsibility and the blame on them, and rightfully so. They're going to get all the credit. It's the players, right? We get this. The coaching matters to a degree. The problem comes is with some of these great players, like a LeBron James, for an example, we've talked about. And like you're mentioning here, Demetrius, in this comment, and a lot of the great players now, right? Because they've seen how this has been going down the line. They're not required to sacrifice or be coachable really anymore. Now it's like, hey, I want to try to run this certain style, or we want to try to base everything off of what you do best, not necessarily what the personnel we have. So you're running styles based off of your best player skill set, but that might be good for the other guys. You should be coming up with a style, a system that helps everybody out, right? So it maximizes not only your best player, but how he can help everyone else around them. But they have to be coachable. You have to be willing to listen, to do this kind of stuff. That's not what you get anymore. These guys are not doing this. So this is part of the problem for the NBA. We're talking about playing stupid basketball out there. This is what we mean. You're not listening to the coach, right? You're not listening. So I think also the quality of head coaches has gone down a little bit. I think we should be honest with this, honest with ourselves. The level of head coaching has gone down a little bit, all right? Again, it's a combination of the players not being coachable, but also the coaching has gone downhill, which leads to what you get on the basketball court. A bunch of guys chucking up shots, coaches not making adjustments, not checking these fools, not making proper rotations, subs. And like I said, not really trying to maximize the role players, but maximize the main guys. The main guys are always supposed to be able to adjust to whatever the coach is putting out here and to what they need their teammates to do. They're supposed to adjust to this stuff. It's on them. That's how you win. That's how you develop cohesion and a consistent team philosophy. It can't just be like, yo, you guys got to do what he needs you to do so that we can be great. No, I have to do what you guys need me to do. Yo, where do you like the ball, man? You like the ball over here? You need to do this? Where do you like to operate? Yo, if I'm doing this, if I'm playing this kind of game, does that mess you up? That's what LeBron James should be thinking about. So when we talk about what the Lakers have been doing this season, and we talk about the inconsistency of LeBron James throughout his entire career, and you talk about the Lakers, guys, this has been going on for years. LeBron James forcing everybody else to try to do something that they're not accustomed to doing. So you can't be the best version of yourself, no matter how good they are. They're never going to be maximized. So the consistency's not there, right? It's just not. So Anthony Davis, they'll blame, oh, what's up with Anthony Davis? He scores 30 points one night, then he scores 15. Yeah, because you're playing with LeBron James, guys. This is what you get, right? Remember when Luka Doncic first came to the Lakers, and he was scoring like 13 points, 17 points, and they were like, yo, what's up with Luka? That's the adjustment. That's him trying to figure out, yo, what this guy's messing me up. He's throwing me off my rhythm. The video AOH just put out, Luka Doncic makes a move, right? He has a connection with Austin Reeves on the wing. He goes to make a throw. All of a sudden, LeBron comes out of nowhere and intercepts it and does some weird throw out of bounds. And then he looks at Austin Reeves like, yo, why weren't you there? And they're like, dude, where did you come from? Who are you? Insane stuff that you see on the basketball court from LeBron James, man. So, like I said, shout out to Demetrius Marcel for coming through. Forgive me, guys, I'm a little behind on these supers. Shout out to LH Fitness again for coming through. Robin, at least LeBron played some defense in his peak, but Scaff praises Jokic, who plays no defense and cooks LeBron, and I don't like LeBron. See, that's another contradiction we're talking about from Scaff Attack when we talk about the LeBron James Jokic crossover here. Remember, there's a crossover now with Nikola Jokic and LeBron James fan base. Because a lot of them became fans to fight or to be an anti-LeBron James. And I respect that. But the problem is now, all the things that they clowned LeBron James about, now they're trying to use these same kinds of angles and tactics to support and give excuses for Nikola Jokic on this hand. So what you have now is a weird scenario where, like you got here from LA Fitness, where, like I said, Scaff will, and a lot of them Nikola Jokic fans, right? We clown LeBron James on defense. LeBron James ain't played defense for years. right? No effort on defense. Now, we can argue back and forth whether Nikola Jokic is actually giving 100% effort on defense or not. A lot of times, it doesn't look like to me he's concerned with playing defense. It doesn't look like it interests him, the defensive end like that. But when we want to get into the effort argument, the facts remain. The impact, the lack of impact on defense, it can't be denied. So when you're on the court and your team needs to stop and you're in these scenarios, they never seem to be able to get them. And you can't just blame the perimeter guys and blame this guy for letting the defense break down, because defense today, more than ever, right? You need more a team philosophy here. And like I told you, when your best player, right, is giving the effort on the defensive end like that, right? He's doing these kinds of things. It forces everyone else to have that same feeling. Nikola Jokic is not known for being a defensive guy, for being one of them kinds of dudes. So it's not going to bleed onto other guys. When the Denver Nuggets have been really good or solid defensively over the last, 5 or 6 years, let's say, has been seasons where they had guys that may have been defensive-minded players. Guys like Paul Millsap, KCP, right? You have Aaron Gordon now, who's a defensive-minded guy. Not necessarily a defender or a defensive great, but a guy who gives effort. Christian Brown, right? He's a guy who gives effort now on defense, right? Jamal Murray gives effort on defense, right? They had guys like DeAndre Jordan in the past, right? Guys like Gary Harris they've had in the past. These are the guys that were supposed to give defensive effort. They were supposed to be the guys that were supposed to pick up the slack defensively. So you had some of these guys, but it's been a collective unit. But Nikola Jokic has never been an anchor. LeBron James has given effort on defense for several times or several seasons in his career, we can argue. But then once again, it's lack of consistency for LeBron James. So yeah, there may have been a year here, a year there, a couple of years in a row that LeBron James played defense at a good level, at maybe a high level. It hasn't been consistently, right? And when it mattered most, right, in his career, LeBron James hasn't played defense like that. Andre Iguodala in 2015, Kevin Durant in 2017, right? We've talked about some of these moments that LeBron James, Tony Parker in 2007. Did he stop Tony Parker? Did he stop Dirk Nowitzki in 2011? Or did he jump Dwight Howard in 2009? Like, did he play defense in these moments? No. So, the other night, LeBron James stat pads. Once again, shout out to LA Fitness for coming through. Shout out to Lomo12. Whomever never played and practiced basketball doesn't understand the energy needed to play defense against playing offense. That is why two-way is best. Thank you very much, Lomo12. Because remember, I've never said that I'm a better basketball player than any of these guys, or that I could play in the NBA, or I'm just super athlete, I've never pumped myself up. Any of this stuff. I've just told you I play this stuff. I play sports my entire life. I watch this stuff, guys. I'm giving you the truth here, man. I have no reason to lie to you. I understand what I'm watching. I don't know why people think we have to have played in the NBA to understand what we're looking at. What I'm watching, and I'm telling you guys, a lot of times I watch dumb basketball in my mind. I see dumb stuff happening. Dumb stuff. We all see the carries, the travels, the lack of officiating. We're that dumb? Oh, y'all know what y'all talking about. Now they're trying to tell us we're dumb. Oh, that's a gather step. Guys have been able to do that. The rule book says this. They try to make us seem dumb. Nah, we ain't dumb. All right, like I told you, you can't do that in the street. You can't do it in the game. I could have never done that when I was in high school. I would have never got away with that stuff in high school. The hell out of here. All of a sudden now, we're dumb. We don't know the rule book. That you guys are crazy. That's not basketball. Y'all don't know. Just not true, man. So you don't understand the energy aspect that Lomo 12 is talking about, that a lot of the great two-way players had to deal with, playing and giving energy on both sides of the ball. Not only because they were great defenders, it mattered to them, but because they had to play defense. Because the way that teams ran offenses, like they were going to work for a good shot. So they're running you off screens. You're having to guard somebody in the post for, possessions, banging into guys. Guys are fighting for rebounds more. All this adds to your wear and tear, the energy you're giving on the court. It's hard to get a rebound when guys are always leaning on you and you're trying to fight for a rebound and you got to get elbow in the chest and you got bruise all over your arm. It's a big difference. Look at the rebounds now. They're standing there. Rebounds fall to them. LeBron James out there in the fourth quarter playing the game, So again, I want you guys to understand this, guys, and we're going to make this briefly here. Talk about LeBron James stat pad in the fourth quarter again. I want you guys to listen to this. I wrote this down. I wrote down the time that LeBron James was in the game in the fourth quarter in the score. Guys, this is getting embarrassing. Shout out to all you guys again, man. I hope you guys are having a good morning going into your afternoon here. I just want to talk about this game the other night and what LeBron James did out there on the basketball court against the Warriors, guys. All right, now we know the Lakers beat the Warriors down. They beat the Warriors down, man. The Warriors don't have anybody out there, man. They've had a very inconsistent season. Steph Curry's been in and out of the lineup. Draymond Green has missed games. Butler's out for the season. They bring in Porzingis. He's still missing games. Everyone's in and out. We get it, right? They're very inconsistent. The lineups, the rotations, everything. They beat them down. All right? Guys, the fourth quarter comes around. The score is 99-72. Guys, 99-72 at the start of the fourth quarter. Now, should LeBron James be in that game? Shout out to DeAndre Durham. Shout out to Ed Weston. What up? Right? Should LeBron James be in that game? No, LeBron James shouldn't be in that game. Shout out to Buddy Lee. Yes, that's right. Shooters. It's all about shooters now. Shooters, and talk about guys that, maybe are going to develop into something. But LeBron James shouldn't have been in that game. So, now, why should LeBron James have been in that game? Let's talk about the why briefly. Why should LeBron James have not been in that game? Besides the obvious, right? The obvious is, your stat padding it's the optics, right? It's the obvious. But besides that, why really shouldn't LeBron James been in the game? Because LeBron James is 41 years old. He's in year 23, right? That's what they're promoting. And he's dealing with injuries, right? He's dealing with the foot soreness. He's dealing with stuff. So if LeBron James has all those things going on, all those ailments, his age, why would he be in the game with the score 99-72 against a Golden State Warriors team without Steph Curry? If you wanted to tell me, hey, man, you never know with Steph Curry, he could come out there and hit like 5 to 10 threes and bring them right back. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you Steph Curry doing some Steph Curry type stuff in a scenario like that. Steph Curry wasn't out there. There was no Steph Curry out there on the court. So, again, why is LeBron James out there on the court? Shout out to Machiavelli the Don. Nobody knows. He's on the court chasing the history books, right? Trying to get more assists. Because in the fourth quarter, LeBron James took one shot, a three-pointer. He missed it, right? He tried to chuck up another three, chuck up some quick points. He missed that. 2 free throws he made. Good for LeBron James. 1 rebound, 3 assists, 1 turnover. So, LeBron James, I told you this season, if you haven't noticed, he's hunting assists this year. And if you haven't noticed, he's doing the same thing he did when he was chasing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Except they couldn't finagle the books or quote-unquote cook the books for him with the scoring points because you can't just be giving him baskets when he clearly hasn't made baskets. That's just too obvious, right? They haven't figured that out yet. If they master that, then we're in trouble. He'll have 80,000 points by the time he retires. But they're able to help you out with the assists. They can easily pad your assist numbers and inflate your assist numbers. And we've all seen that they clearly are. So LeBron James has been chasing the assists. He's trying to get as high up on that assist list. So again, he passed Dennis Rodman in rebounds, right? He can pass Magic Johnson assists. Oh, he's number 2 in assists all time. Number 1 in scoring. No one's ever going to do that. He's insane. The greatest all-around player all time. This is what they're promoting. So LeBron James out there, stat pad and stat chasing in the fourth quarters with these blowout wins and losses to get these assists, rebounds, all this stuff, guys. A bogus triple-double. So, LeBron James, guys, starts the fourth quarter. Does Luka Doncic start the fourth quarter? Right? Did Luka Doncic play the fourth quarter? He's younger than LeBron James, right? He's their best player. Is he playing in the fourth quarter? Luka Doncic. No, he's not, guys. He's not playing the fourth quarter, Luka Doncic. Again, another fourth quarter blowout that LeBron James is in that Luka Doncic didn't play a single minute. So LeBron James in there Was Austin Reeves in there in the fourth quarter? Did Austin Reeves play again? Or any minutes in the fourth quarter, Austin Reeves? Austin Reeves, nope. Austin Reeves didn't play in the fourth quarter? Nope. So the top two players on the team, Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter because the Lakers were up 99-72 against a Golden State Warriors team without their best player, their second best player, Jimmy Butler. Ain't got nobody out there, man. But that's when LeBron James chose to play the fourth quarter. When did LeBron James check out the game, guys? When did he check out the game? You guys want to know the score? When he checked out the game, guys, listen to this. When LeBron James came out the game, after he got 3 more assists, another rebound, right? Chucked up a shot, got a couple more free throws, got some more minutes under his belt. The all-time leader in minutes, garbage minutes. LeBron James checked out, guys, at the 7:45-minute mark. All right, so the man played almost 5 minutes in the fourth quarter for whatever reason, with the score 111-80. Guys, this man was in a game when he's 41, dealing with a sore foot with arthritis, against a Golden State Warriors team with nobody, who's not even a top team. He's in there, so it was 111-80. And me, as a basketball fan, as a guy who's been watching basketball for years, man, who've seen guys check themselves out, who saw guys that were really dealing with stuff, try to get out games, try to get rest for these injuries, right? A blowout comes, oh man, I can take a rest now and chill. I've seen guys do this. SGA this season. How many fourth quarters has SGA sat out this year? Is he 41 years old? He ain't 41 years old, but he's sitting out fourth quarters when he could go for 40, when he could go for 50, sitting out fourth quarters in these games. But LeBron James is in there, and no one knows why, when no one else is in the game. He's the only guy in there. And I'm supposed to respect that. I'm not respecting that nonsense. That's weird stuff, all right? When Larry Bird was playing the game and he was dealing with all the injuries toward the end of his career and he was deteriorating, every time this man came out the game, he had to have all kinds of special treatment. He had to have all kinds of special setups, everything going for him, right, to keep him in a certain way so he could get back in the game. If Larry Bird needed to, was in the game and the Celtics are up by 30, you think Larry Bird's going to be in that game? That doesn't make any sense. He's dealing with stuff. He would get his ass up out of there. He'd be, I ain't going in that damn game. If you they ask him, Larry, you want to check in? You could probably get 30 if you check in. He'd be, no, I'm good. My back is jacked up, man. My feet are hurting. I'm going to sit my butt down right here. We're up by 20. I'm all right. LeBron James, LeBron, you want to get in there? Hell yeah, coach. Let me go in there and get like 5 more rebounds. LeBron be skipping in the game. He come in there skipping. Yeah, boy, I'm going to get 3 assists. I'm going to get a couple of rebounds. I'm playing against third stringers. And LeBron James fans like, yeah, man, LeBron the GOAT. LeBron with a triple-double. LeBron James, he got all these rebounds. LeBron James past Rodman. They celebrate this weak-ass stuff. You celebrate a dude getting rebounds in garbage time. And then use the excuse, he's 41. It can't be both ways. I don't want to hear that excuse once when the playoffs come. I don't want to hear this man's age once. This man's been in all the guys. How many games is it this year? When the Lakers up by 20 plus and LeBron James in the game. Remember when he shot the 3? Lakers are blown. Shoots the 3 up. They're getting beat down. LeBron shoots the 3 up. Checks himself out the game. Soon as he makes that 3, right? Keep the double-digit streak going. Checked out. The other night, soon as he gets that rebound, 15 seconds later, checked out the game. Weak stuff. Weak. Weak-ass stuff. Don't make no damn sense. I'm supposed to respect this crap. LeBron James out there in the fourth quarter chasing some BS stats But then y'all gonna turn around and say he's 41. He's dealing with these injuries. He has to skip out against the San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. But he'll play against the Golden State Warriors. He'll play against the Warriors and no Steph Curry. He'll be there all day, every day. I told you, man, LeBron James ain't no damn competitor. You guys know that. Once again, shout out to all you guys that continue to come through, all you guys that left comments, everyone who donated to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it means a lot, guys. Yeah, you guys know the deal, man, for real. These are the facts out here. You guys know, man. I'm telling you guys the truth out here, man. LT can't get right. Shout out to you for coming through, man. Thank you. That's right. New foe. When Lakers are blown out, the bum's still in the game. That's right. Still in the game. Whether they're up or whether they're getting blown out. It goes both ways, guys. That's right on the money. It don't matter which way it goes. He gonna be on that court out there having a grand old time. Remember when he was laughing and carrying on with the Phoenix Suns players when they're getting blown out? They're getting blown out by 20 plus. He's laughing on the sideline with the Phoenix Suns guys. And I told you, the funny thing about that is in reality, he thinks that they're laughing with him when they're all laughing at you, fool. You're the fool there. You're the one that's ignoring your coach, talking to them while your coach is calling you while you're down by 20. And you're over there lollygagging. Yeah, that really shows you're a competitor, LeBron James. It really matters to you out there. And LeBron James fans will say, what? Yo, who cares about just one game? Who cares? Again, that shows and proves to me you never played sports. You never played competitive sports. You don't understand. No one's saying that the players should go home and hang up. No one said that the players should go into a depression and check themselves into a clinic or something like that, or go see a psychiatrist because they lost the game or didn't win the championship or whatever the case may be. But it should matter. It should matter because it's your job. Isn't it your job? Don't you guys care how you do at work? Don't you care about your performance at work? You should. Like I said, if you're an employee that's worth a damn, if you're a person that's worth a damn that's going to hold themselves to a standard, you should care about your performance at work. The job that you do should matter to you. Not for the company you work for, right? Not for your boss, for yourself, for you. That's why I laugh when you hear someone like James Harden say that loyalty is overrated and that loyalty is this and that. These people think about these owners, right? They're like, oh, these white owners, these white rich guys don't care about us. Y'all missing the point, the picture, the big picture. A New York Knicks example, a New York Knicks, for example, let's say. The New York Knicks aren't just the ownership. The New York Knicks, the franchise, the team, is not just the owner, the old white guy that owns the team, or the executives. That's not what the New York Knicks just is. Yeah, that freaking guy owns the team, that guy. Great for him, man, right? These guys own the team. But that's not what the team is. The franchise is the fans. It's the city, right? It's the people that support the team. That's what you're signing up to. So, yes, we get it. Organizations will treat it like a business because it is a business. But to say that the loyalty, it doesn't matter, and then you try to equate it to the owners or the people that are signing your check, dude, it's about more. It's deeper than that, man. It should be deeper than that. You should love the game, number one. So you should feel humbled and honored and privileged that you're allowed to play basketball and get paid like this. You should be like, damn, I'm lucky as hell, man. This is insane. I can't believe they actually give me the money to do this stuff. This is a dream come true. These guys lost that sense. So they try to equate this stuff to, yeah, I don't care about the organization. They don't care about me. The fans might, though. The fans might care about you, dude, right? And how you carry yourself. That matters to them, right? And you being there matters to them. So maybe you got to take a pay cut to play for an organization, right? To be remembered that way, to have that legacy. You got to sacrifice. Sometimes you got to give up something to get something. Right? So, yeah, maybe you gave up some paycheck, salary, contract money, but maybe you get more respect, and then you're able to get and turn that, parlay that into endorsements, into deals, right? Because now you are a respected player. You're a respected person. People will support you in commercials. They'll support your gear. You can sell stuff now. You ain't a sellout. You ain't a clown. You ain't a fool. Look at James Harden. Who respects him? He bounced all over the place. Dude's a clown, man. Because he's all about the money. He's all about himself. He ain't worried about nothing. That's why no one thinks about you like that. Don't nobody respect that clown. So, yeah, you might have got some money. Great for you, man. You might have hooked up with some ladies. You might have met some celebrities. You might be living the dream for you. That's great, but you don't have the respect. You're not an honorable person, in my opinion. You're a classless individual because of the way that you've carried yourself. You've never shown me and proved to me that you're a true competitor like the all-time greats, right? You never showed and proved to me that you cared about the game like the other all-time greats. You never showed me these kinds of things. You never showed me that everything that you've done has been about trying to win, right? Or sacrificing to win. You didn't do this stuff. This is what you get from these guys today. You get the Kevin Durant's. You get these sensitive cowards that every time the going gets tough, they get going. They ask for more money, a no trade clause, a max contract. It's weak ass stuff, man. All right? I don't respect these clowns out here, man. You guys know the deal, man. These are the facts out here. It's always going down like that. Shout out to my man Bookie Allen for coming through. Really? See, I told you, I've lost a lot of respect for Chandler. I mean, not really Chandler Parsons. I didn't really never respect Chandler Parsons, but Lou Williams, and I mean, DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, guys, think about what we're talking about here. Like, think about someone like DeMarcus Cousins, for example. We were just talking about this kind of stuff. DeMarcus Cousins, what kind of reputation did he earn during his playing career? What kind of reputation he earned? He earned a reputation of a dirtbag, in my opinion. A reputation of a dirtbag, whether he is or not, I don't care. I don't know him like that. As far as your basketball career, that's how you came across, as a dirtbag, loudmouth, right? Hothead, a guy who had potential but never developed, an injury-prone guy. So you're weak, dude. Your body's frail. You never developed and turned into anything. So really, who are you now? That's DeMarcus Cousins, guys. But somehow DeMarcus Cousins got a microphone. He got a platform now. You see what I mean? Everyone got something to say. And it's supposed to be like, oh, who are you? You're just some guy sitting in your garage with some posters on your wall. And DeMarcus Cousins is an all-star NBA basketball player, right? You're nobody. Yeah, that might be true on the surface. That might be true as far as my status goes, right out here in the world. I'm just a YouTuber guy making content. I'm just a fan of basketball. That doesn't take away from the facts. The facts remain. DeMarcus Cousins is who I just described him to be. That's who he was in his career. A guy who underachieved in his career. So great for him for making some money, for making the NBA. The man's 7 feet tall. I told you, if I was 7 feet tall, guys, I would be in the NBA today, guys. I guarantee that, man. All right? So a lot of these guys are blessed with genetics that we would never know about. All right? So good for him for making some money and getting into the league. But, dude, you underachieved. You didn't turn into anything. Your body became frail. So, again, these guys have these platforms. Chandler freaking Parsons. These guys are clowns. Kevin Durant's a top 6 player. How is Kevin Durant a top 6 player when, to me, in my estimation, he's not even a top 5 small forward of all time? So, if you're not even a top 5 small forward of all time, how the hell are you supposed to be a top 6 player of all time? You see what I'm saying, guys? We're not thinking about this historically. They don't have perspective and context historically, because in their mind, when they think about Kevin Durant, and even if they thought about small forwards, in their mind, all they think is LeBron James. They don't think about Dr. J. They don't think about Larry Bird. They don't think about Elgin Baylor or John Havlicek or Rick Barry or Dominique Wilkins. They don't think about any of these kinds of guys, James Worthy or Paul Arizin. They're not going to tell you about any of the great small forwards in the history of the game. They're going to just chalk it up to, oh, yes, Kevin Durant, who is Kevin Durant, LeBron James. So, yeah, Kevin Durant, he will argue the greatest small forward of all time. Top 6 player based off of what? The man's got one MVP in a weak-ass MVP era. Again, I mean, guys like Russell Westbrook and Harden won the same amount of MVPs in the same era. Don't give me no Kobe Bryant won one MVP nonsense. Kobe Bryant won one MVP playing most of his career in the 2000s, right? The 2000s going against Tim Duncan, Shaq for MVP, Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett. That's a lot different than going against, like I said, Russell Westbrook, James Harden for MVPs, man. All right, Steph Curry for MVP. LeBron James and his super team for MVP. The hell out of here. Derrick Rose. It's a different beast. It's a different animal, man. Those guys are just greater, top to bottom. The competition was stiffer for MVPs. And we all know that a lot of that stuff, especially over the last 10, 15 years, has been heavily popularity stuff and storyline driven with this nonsense. So once again, it doesn't make any sense when people try to put Kevin Durant at top 6 all the time. Like I said, y'all can miss me with this. Not even close. So you lose all credibility. I don't give a damn where you played, how many all-star teams you made. Oh, who's this clown? That's great, man. I got the facts. You sound like a fool. All right? So once again, shout out to my man Bookie Allen. Yeah, he's over legend. Ridiculous, exactly. Makes no sense out here. Wu Taj, what up? That's why I'll never put LeBron James, Kevin Durant, they'll never be above Larry Bird. Never. They'll never be above Dr. J. In my opinion, never. That ship sailed a long, long time ago. That's why I say, how are you right behind Michael Jordan? It's impossible for LeBron James to be right behind Michael Jordan when you're not even the best at your position. You're not. And I've made videos about this, guys. You guys can't tell me a single thing. Like, this thing about Larry Bird and LeBron James, and we've done this before. You guys know that. Guys, when people who know the game understand the game of basketball. Basketball, the game of basketball. Larry Bird is going to give you more on the court. You're going to have more of an impact with Larry Bird. Why? It's not just about the physical gifts, the on-court skills, the fundamentals. It's Larry Bird's mental game, the mental IQ, his mental toughness is greater than LeBron James by a mile. So in the clutch scenarios, Larry Bird's team is going to be more prepared than LeBron James' team. They're going to be more prepared. I don't care who the coach is. I don't give a damn who the role guys are. It don't matter. Larry Bird's mind, his mental toughness, his high IQ is going to have everybody in the right spot. He's going to make the right play more often than LeBron James will. Give me Larry Bird all day, every day. So these are the things that we're talking about when we talk about the game. There's really none to me that you can tell me that LeBron James does better than Larry Bird consistently at a high level. If you want to talk about defense, right, they'll go right to defense. Oh, Larry Bird don't play no D. I've told you guys, right? No, Larry Bird wasn't going to lock you up one-on-one on D. That's not what it was about for Larry Bird or the Celtics. What did Larry Bird do at a high level, though? What did I watch him do on a basketball court? This man was always in the right rotation. He was always in the right spot on the basketball court. This man was an excellent team and help defender. So, when you see LeBron James playing defense and the guy dribbles the basketball and LeBron stands right there and he doesn't do one of these, you guys know what this is when a guy tries to drive past you and you're playing help defense? You guys ever do? I mean, does no one play basketball anymore? I mean, I don't understand this stuff anymore. I'm confused. We all know this, right? You're playing defense. You see the ball in your man. That's fundamental one-on-one. 101. You see the ball in your man, right? You have your head on a swivel. You're aware of what's going on. You're in a help defense scenario. Somebody makes a drive. You do one of these. You slide over to cut it off. Whatever it is you do, you help, you come back. That's called help defense. LeBron James stands. He stands and then does this. And then he looks. Yo, why you ain't play D? Dude, you didn't even help. You didn't put a hand out. You didn't slide the feet over. You didn't cut the lane off. You did nothing for me right there. What did you do for me? Basketball's not about shutting your guy one-on-one down all the time. You're going to get beat. It's the NBA. You're going to get beat the dribble. It don't matter how great you are elite on the perimeter. You're going to get beat. I told you, this is what the guys did against Jordan. You get up on Jordan. Why? So you force him to drive past you. You're forcing the drive. Why are you forcing the drive? Because of the big guys down low. They're waiting for Jordan. They're waiting for Drexler. They're waiting for Dominique Wilkins. Right? They're waiting for the perimeter guys. Okay, we're going to force you to make a move and dribble in so that we can clobber you, so that we can come over and draw a charge. So you have to go over our extended hands and shoot over the top of us. So LeBron James don't play help defense. He doesn't. Larry Bird played help defense. He was a smart defender. So he got deflections, right? He draw charges, right? He forced guys to overpass, right? Or to fumble the ball, take a bad shot. The Celtics were a great defensive team because they had a lot of guys that understood the game. So it wasn't just Kevin McHale. and his impact down low with those long-ass arms, right? And Kevin McHale being a shot blocker and a guy who's a rim protector. But you had guys like Parrish, Larry Bird, that were good team defenders. Danny Ainge, right? We all know about Dennis Johnson. These guys were good team defenders. They were smart basketball players. LeBron James, to me, is dumb compared to Larry Bird. Not dumb compared to me, dumb compared to Larry Bird on the court. Yo, shout out to you guys coming through with the supers. Forgive me if I missed. Damn. I'm trying to read these guys. Sorry, guys. Praise the Don. Shout out to you. LeBron laughs in a loss. Kobe was angry, up 2-0. Exactly. That's called mindset, right? That's a mindset that you have when you're up like that. You never get complacent. I've told you guys, man, I've yelled at my son. I've told you guys, man, I've been coaching my son since he was 5, man. 5. And when he was 6 years old, I would take him out of games sometimes. I told you guys a story. He was in kindergarten. In kindergarten. And I told you we were beating this team. And my son came down here like 6 shots in a row. I mean, it was ridiculous. He was just knocking shots down. I mean, everything he shot at was going in. And we were winning like 16-2, right? We're blowing his team out, man. And my son's got like 12 points. And I took him out the game, and he gave me a weird look. He's 6. And I went over to him, and I said, listen, you didn't do nothing wrong. I said, I'm taking you out for a little bit. And when I put him back and I told him, don't shoot the ball anymore. I told him, get the other kids involved. And what did I tell you guys? The reason why I've told him to continue to teach my son this now that he's 8. I tell him the same thing in every sport and every season we play. It's the burden is on my son. Why? Because my son is fortunate. My son is a natural athlete. My son can run fast. He can jump high. He can do all these things. He can change direction. Sometimes I'm on the field, I'm on the court, and I'm sitting there as a coach, and I'm wondering, like, damn, this kid really got some speed. This kid really can move. So my son is fortunate. There are kids that don't have legs. There are kids that are autistic. They'll never be able to do these kinds of things to that level. So there are kids that are in the league that I coach that are not fortunate like that. They are less fortunate, right? They're not as athletic. They're not blessed with those genetics like my son, with those gifts like my son. So the burden's on my son to help those kids. That's what I teach him. You have to help them out there. Pass them the ball. Don't throw it hard to them. Make sure you make a good pass so they can look good. Get them an open shot. Help them on defense. Show them what. Lead by example. He has to do that. That's the burden of my son. So when I'm on the court with him and we're doing something and something's going on, I tell him all the time, yo, stop shooting, man. Don't shoot anymore. And sometimes they'll look at me. Yo, play defense. Get some rebounds out there. Do something else. Work on something else. And help the other kids out there. So this is what it's about. When we talk about, how these guys approach the game, how you talk about being a competitor, how you help your teammates help you. This is what you do, guys. Anyone that has children, anyone that's coached kids, I'm talking about anyone, guys. You understand what I'm saying here. Not every child can run. Not every child can jump. Not every child can catch. Not every child can throw. Not every child can shoot a basketball. Not every child can dribble. Not every child is coordinated. Not every child can do these things. Maybe some of those children have strengths in other areas. But the parents that know, when you see the kids out there and those kids do something, those are the kids that I'm most, that make me want to cry sometimes the most. The kids who can't dribble, they can't run, they're goofy as hell, and I'm always yelling at them. And I'm like, stop goofing around out there. Come on. What are we doing? Catch the damn ball. Right? Even though I'm yelling at them like that, I am, guys. I'm yelling at them at 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, guys. I yell at the kids like that. Even when I'm doing that, when those kids do something, when they finally make a catch, they finally make a basket, they make a nice pass, they get a rebound, right? They just make a good play. I am one of the first people that's over there yelling in their face about how amazing it was. Because some of these kids, the transformation that they make from being able to do nothing. I mean, these kids can't even catch, man. I'm like, did anyone ever throw you the ball? Did anyone ever put a ball in your hand? Some of these kids, no. But some of them, they're just not good athletes. When those kids do something, those are the moments, man. Those are the moments. When I see my son, like, do something, it almost gets to a point where I tell you guys, I don't celebrate my son in public. I don't over the top celebrate him. Sometimes I tell you my son does things, I'm amazed. Sometimes I'm lucky. Parents will send me a video of my son scoring a touchdown or hitting a home run or something like that, or having a nice basket and basketball, and I'll get a video of that, and I'll celebrate my son at home. When we're by ourselves, and I always tell my son that the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want you to think that you're the most important player out there because you're my son. It doesn't matter. When we're out there playing the game, everyone out there is like my son out there. Everyone out there is on my team. You guys are the players on my team, man. So I'm going to actually hold my son to a higher standard, man. I'm going to hold him to a higher standard, not to a lower standard. Hey, he's my son, man. Come some slack. He's my son. No, dude, you're going to be the one I'm yelling at the most because you are fortunate. You are fortunate, and the other kids are not as fortunate. So damn it, the burden's on you. You guys know the deal, man. These are the facts out here. Yo, shout out to all you guys, man. Like I said, it really means a lot. Like I said, a lot of you guys understand what I'm saying here, man. Shout out to Lomo 12. When we lost the game, we would be quiet in the locker room after the game for 30 minutes. If it was a game that matters, we were quiet and pissed for 3 to 5 days. Shout out to Lomo 12 for leaving that comment. You gave a great point. This is kind of what I was talking about, right? Like how it should matter to you, right? No one's telling you to go into a depression, like I said, or give up on life, because you lost the game or your favorite team lost the championship or, something like that. You lost a rec league game or you out in the playground or, you're outside and you lose a game. However, there's certain levels to how you feel about this stuff, right? Like Lomo 12 is saying here, depending on, the game, like what the circumstances were, right, of the game. Some games are bigger than others. Some circumstances are different, right? Maybe you're playing as a rival. I told you guys, when I was growing up, especially when I get to high school, there was a rival high school. I'm talking about a rival, guys. My school is called North, right? And the rival high school was called South. But why was it a rivalry, right? Where did the rivalry develop? Why was it a real, true rivalry? Because when we were in junior high, the junior high consisted of a bunch of different elementary schools, right? So all of these elementary schools come together in one giant junior high school with thousands of kids in it. And it's one junior high school. So what happens when you're in junior high? To me, when you're in junior high, those ages, 11, 12, years old, so somewhere around there when you're in junior high, 13, right? You're turning into a teenager, you're developing. To me, those are the years that your athletics, your athleticism, you start to really find yourself and to find out what sports really suit or what sports you really like to play and what you're good at. You start to find out around this time as you start to graduate from a junior high. So what ends up happening is you're playing all these sports now with kids that you go to school with. You all become friends and friendly. You all go to the same school. You're in the same classes sometimes, right? Sometimes you play on the same teams, whatever the case may be. Now, when it comes time to go to high school, we go into 2 separate high schools. So now friends become rivals. This is what makes a rivalry even more fierce, right? Even more personal. Because we used to be friends, now we're not because we're going to rival high schools. So now we were teammates. Now we're playing against each other in basketball. Now we're going against each other in football, right? In other sports. That's how a rivalry develops. So again, when I was going in high school and we're playing against South High School, it was a big deal, guys. A very big deal. All right. And when I was playing football, we never beat them. We never beat them, man. Right? The 2 years that I was on varsity, we never beat our rival. And I told you guys a story about the game, though, my junior year. right? And it came down to overtime. It was 0-0, guys, and went to overtime. I told you, it was like pitch black out there, where it was a muddy field. We were covered in mud. You couldn't even see the numbers on our jerseys. I still have the VHS videotape of this game, guys. Still got it. You couldn't see nothing, man. We're in the mud. I remember we had to change our cleats, our spikes out, and put the 3/4 length spikes out, right? Because in spikes out, because the mud on the field was so deep, the regular spikes wasn't cutting it. I was a running back. So all the skill position players, the receivers, defensive backs, linebackers, we all changed our spikes out. Anyone that knows or played sports back in the days understand what I'm saying when I tell you I'm changing my spikes out. You had to have that little metal tool, and you had to unscrew the spikes on the bottom of your cleat, and then you screwed in the longer ones to give you more traction in these kinds of conditions. This is what we had to do on this field. And I told you guys how it came down to an overtime game, and they scored, right? And they kicked the extra point. I remember they had a really good kicker. I remember that kid went to junior high with me, this kicker. He played on my Pop Warner team, and he went and won the punt pass and kick competition back in that was like 1991 or something like that. I want to say it was that he won the competition for that age. I want to say like the 10 age range, maybe something like that. He won for punting, for kicking. It's for kicking, excuse me. So this kid was a really good kicker. Now he's in high school. I said I was playing Pop Warner with this kid, went 10, 11, now in high school, and he kicks the extra point in the mud. And they're up 7-0. I told you guys we lost 7-6 after I scored the touchdown on third down. And I told you guys, I told the coach, give me the ball to the right. I had just scored a touchdown on the left, and I told the coach, give me the ball to the right. Same play to the right, I said. And what the coach say? Now we're gonna kick the extra point and go to double OT. We're gonna kick the extra point. That's what he said. I'm doing. It's muddy as hell out there. Our kicker wasn't like that. Our kicker was not good, y'all. And what happened? We went to get the extra point, and he missed it big time, and we lost 7-6 in overtime to our rival. And when I tell you guys, on the bus on the ride home, because I was at their place, in my mind, guys, a true story, guys. I told the coach that. The coach came to the huddle, guys. I told you, in that play, remember, I told the story before. But when I hit that dude, they brought the stretcher out. The ambulance came out for that kid. And I told you, he dislocated his shoulder. That's what I found out years later. I told you, I found out years later because I was at someone's house and that kid showed up. It was like 10 years ago. He's like a grown-ass man, like 35 years old. I ran to him at a party, and he was like, yo, I don't know if you remember me. He goes, but you dislocated my shoulder in the 1996 game against North. He goes, they came out on the stretcher in the overtime. And I was like, that was you. He was like, yeah. But when we scored that touchdown, like I told you guys, it was crazy out there. And the coach came and said, yo, he goes, what do you guys want to do? And guys, I tell you, man, I tell you right now, I swear to God, man, I told the coach, I said, give me the ball. I said, same play to the right, coach. Same play to the right. Guys, do you feel me right now? Do you see how much I feel? Guys, this is 1996. 96. And I still feel the pain. I still feel the pain, man, of that loss. We would have won that game, man. Sweep to the right, coach. Yo, rest in peace to that coach, man, to my coach, man. He died some years ago. But damn it, man. We didn't beat them, man. Yo, I remember on the ride back, it was mad quiet, like Lone Nose was talking about. And, yo, no joke, guys, true story. The middle linebacker for my football team, guys, he was a year older than me. So shout out to him, yo, shout out to this dude. This dude became a Navy SEAL, guys. All right, the middle linebacker for my high school football team. He was a year older than me that year. I was a junior, he was a senior that year. Became a Navy SEAL, guys. All right, true story, guys. I would never lie about Navy SEALs, man. Any of you guys know, I follow Don Shipley. I don't play with Navy SEAL stuff, guys. I would never even claim something like that. This dude went Navy SEAL, a legit Navy SEAL dude was my linebacker. And the funny thing is, when I played football with this dude, he had a younger brother that was a year younger than me. So I was, like me and his younger brother, we played Pop Warner together. But I never played football with his older brother until I got to high school. And this dude was a legit football player. Like when you talk about meeting people when you're in high school, guys, and we're like 17, 18 years old, 16 years old, this dude was tough as nails. He's one of the toughest individuals I've ever known in my life. And it's not even ironic that he became a Navy SEAL, guys. It fit his personality. So it's mad funny that he ended up going Navy SEALs. I was like, damn, that fits to a T. But anyway, this dude on the bus ride home, he smashed the window with his helmet. The bus window. He smashed the bus window with his helmet after the game because, again, the way we lost was in disappointing fashion. So once again, shout out to you guys, man. Again, it means a lot. You got some weird people saying some weird things out there in the chat. I'll tell you, man, some weird people out here, man. It makes no sense, man. Oh, goodness gracious, man. We got some weirdos out here. Like, I don't even know what this means. What does this mean? Instead of reliving I'm not reliving anything. I'm telling a story. I'm just telling a story here, and I'm relating it to the competitive nature or lack of competitiveness from a lot of these people out here that talk about sports. People don't understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I talk about, I played this stuff growing up, these are the kinds of scenarios. This is how I gain perspective. Again, people don't understand. That's how you gain perspective. All right? You don't have perspective. You don't have a story like I just told you. You don't have a rivalry story. So you don't understand what it means to be in a legit rivalry. When I talk about the rivalries from the 80s and the 90s, I can feel that stuff. I really understand what a rivalry is. No, I never played professionally. No, I was never out in the news like that, for the rivalry. But I tell you guys right now, if I was out in town in high school, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, and I'm out in town, I'm going to run into some of these kids, guys, and there might be a fight. There might be a brouhaha, right? There might be a fracas. Something might go down out in town. I see you at the movie theater, right? I see you at the baseball card shop in the local area. We used to always go to this baseball card shop. Sometimes you run into some of these kids. There might be a fight. There's going to be at least some words. Oh, y'all go to North. We go to South. North is whack. Guys, my senior year. This is a true story, guys. My senior year. When we used to have bonfires, all right? Anyone that plays sports sometimes, you guys understand about like bonfires, right? For the football team, they'll do like a pep rally, right? Where they get the pep rally, you're playing as your rival, right? So we always had a pep rally against South. Always. Pep rally against South, we're going to have a bonfire. They're going to have a big-ass fire, all these pallets, and they're going to let a giant fire. They're going to call the fire department, right? All this stuff. That's right. You guys know the deal, man. Shout out to you guys. So you have like a big bonfire going, right? So my senior year, we're getting ready to play that Team South, our rivalry, guys. And remember, I told you guys, my team was never good. We were never good, guys. We won 5 games in 2 years. All right? We were 3-5 my senior year, and we were 2-6 my 3-5 my junior year and 2-6 my senior year, guys. We were never good. I'm not bragging about myself here. I'm not bragging about my exploits. There's none of this is. Do not think that I'm bragging about myself. I'm just telling you guys some funny stories, man, and some stories that help give you an idea to where I get perspective and context from with a lot of this stuff, man. So, like I've said before, when we think about how these rivalries went down, and the rivalry develops like that. I remember. I know I'm kind of rambling though, but I remember that. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. There was the last game that we played, right? The last game that we played against for my basketball when I was playing basketball. The last game that we played, we played against them was against this high school. That was the very last game we played, and we beat them. My last basketball game, right? We beat them in their building. Right, in their gym. And that game was video recorded, right? It was videotaped. And I remember like a week later, like my mom ended up getting like a recording of this game, right? And I remember watching the game. And like as I'm watching the game, like I remember thinking like damn, like we were trash. Like that was our 3rd win of the season. We were terrible. But somehow, some way, We were able to beat them when they were way better than us that year. We were able to beat them. Why? Because it was a rivalry game. So when things came down to a rivalry, right, that's when things got crazy. And you never knew how things could go. So once again, shout out to all you guys, man. I know we got some weird people coming into the chat. I guess I've been doing my live too long. I've been going on and rambling for like 2 hours. So this is what happens sometimes when you are here on the live streams and some of the weirdos are out there on the computer or out here on social media. They come flocking into the live, but they're getting educated on things that I've talked about. And like I told you guys before, a reason why I give you guys a lot of these stories is to give you guys the perspective or help you guys gain appreciation for why I say things or why I feel the way that I feel. Because like I told you, the rivalry was like that. So anyway, I was telling you guys that we broke into the high school South my senior year, guys, and we stole a uniform from the locker room. I don't know if I can be arrested for this now, if there's a statute of limitations or whatever on this stuff, but yeah, we broke into the locker room and we stole the uniform from the football team and put it in the bonfire, guys. We propped it up on like a scarecrow almost type of deal, and we put the uniform, the helmet, the pants. We put all that stuff in the bonfire, on the top of the bonfire of my senior year, guys. That's a true story, guys. True story. Like I said, I don't know if I get arrested for that or if that's something that they've been investigating as a cold case, the uniform that we stole back in 1997. But yeah, that's what we did, guys. And I was wondering if there was what? I'm going to say there was 3 or 4. I'm trying to remember. I think there was 4 of us that snuck into the school. Once again, this is back in the 90s. It wasn't like, now. Like I work security for the same school district. There's a billion of us at the school now. There's a bunch of security. There's no way we would have been able to sneak in there and get this stuff. But we were able to go into the locker room, take the uniform and the helmet out of there, and use that in the bonfire, man. But that's how, the rivalry was in that neighborhood. I told you, trash talk. I remember my junior year, guys. I'm telling you guys true stories here, guys. That's why I say I appreciate rivalries. When I was growing up, that's why rivalries were like, you can say it mattered. It added to the game. Like I said, when I'm out in town and we would run to some of these kids or we'd be on the field, I remember the quarterback from the other team. He was like one of the better kids in the area, right? So I was getting a lot of recognition. I told you guys I was on the local news station. There was a local station there that covered local sports. And I was on there, right? So people started to talk about me in the area there, right? So some of the kids would come at me sometimes. And I remember during the game, these guys are talking trash like the whole game. We're just talking trash. I told you, some of these kids I went to school with before. We were friends. Now we're not friends anymore. Now it's I go to North, you go to South, and we ain't cool like that. It was like that, guys. Again, this is not like, the West Side Story. We were stabbing each other or, shooting each other. It wasn't that crazy stuff, man. It wasn't like that. But there were fist fights. There were fights. All right, I got into several fights in my life. I told you, there's a lot of fights in my life. You think I'm going to have a loud mouth like this? I'm going to be aggressive like this? And I'm not going to defend myself from time to time? Are you kidding me? I remember one of the first fights I got in the military. I got into a fight in boot camp, right? With nobody around. It was like a little scuffle. It was a little kerfuffle. It was nothing real crazy. But the dude was from Chicago. And the dude from Chicago said to me, he's like, yo, you a loudmouth New York dude. And I don't like that. That's what the dude said to me. So once again, I'm having to defend myself and fight with a dude because I'm a loudmouth New Yorker. You know what I'm saying? Now my mouth has put me in a situation where this guy from Chicago, he ain't vibing with me right now. You know what I'm saying? We ended up becoming cool, after weeks of being in the same division together. But originally, I was, like I said, I was under fire. I told you when I got to my ship, dudes was confronting me often because I loud. Oh, you loudmouth New Yorker. You New York guys think you tough. This is what people were telling me. I don't even know some of these cats. I told you, I remember the one dude rolled up on me. He was like, yo, you think you tough? You think you bad? This is what the dude said to me. I didn't even know the dude. He was in a completely different division. And the dude rolled up on me and challenged me to a one-on-one. So what does that mean? It wasn't necessarily a fist fight in the military on the ship. But I told you, you had to wrestle cats. So we would go down the berthing, and if someone called you out, you had 2 options. Either you accepted the challenge, or you was a punk. You was a straight up punk. It didn't matter if you got slammed up. At least you took the challenge. You didn't back down. Those are the only options you had. Once again, I'm only speaking from my experience in the Navy, guys. I'm giving you my experience of how my ship was. So again, you could challenge anybody. It didn't matter rank. So guys could challenge you if you were overranked them or you didn't have the rank as them. You could still challenge and call dude down. So the dude called me out. I had to wrestle this cat. I told you, I remember I wrestled the dude, right? I slammed this guy up. I surprised myself because this guy was way bigger than me. But remember, I told you guys, I grew up with 3 brothers, man. Now, they're younger than me. But remember, I'm wrestling all of these kids at the same time. This is what we did. So my wrestling skills were like that. Just from the experience of wrestling with brothers and having kids grab on your neck, one grab on your leg, you know what I'm saying, biting on your ear. So I slammed this dude up, right? He had a reputation. I didn't know that. All of a sudden now, I'm on the mess decks one day watching a movie. Dude rolls up on me. Yo, I heard you slam Raheem. What's up? Like, you got to be kidding me, man. All right, the dude's last name was Raheem Zababa, or whatever it was. Raheem Zababa, I think his last name was. But the dude was like 6'6". He was this giant dude, which is rare for the Navy. Most people in the Navy, the tall people, don't join the Navy because tall people in the military don't go good, right? Because you're on a ship. Being tall in a ship is not good. You're banging your elbows, you're banging your knees, you're banging your head. So there wasn't many big people like that. So because I slammed him and he was somebody, I had to be now somebody myself. So, hey, yo, man, I'm going to challenge you. This guy's tough. All of a sudden, now I had a reputation. I'm wrestling guys every night, y'all. I was wrestling dude. Guys, remember I told you the story. I know I'm rambling on, guys. Forgive me, man. Forgive me. I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end it after this, man. I'm gonna end it up. I've been rambling 2 hours. I told you the story, guys. I was on the line in the morning, guys. So I told you, you're in a berthing with like 80 guys. All right. There's like 4 showers. All right. There's like 4 stalls. There's like 80 of us down there. So you're gonna have to wait in line. So when the reveille comes, right? Wait, reveille, right? Everyone getting up. So everyone's getting up. You're in a line. You're in a line. Most of us are in our underwear. That's it. You're in your underwear and your shower shoes. Nothing else. No shirts, no socks. You're in your underwear and slippers, man. And you got your shaving cream or whatever you got, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your soap. You got this stuff with you. And you're in line waiting to get in there for the next stall, the next sink, whatever it is. You're waiting to get in. I told you. I was standing there in line in my drawers, y'all. Dude from Florida rolled up on me. Right? Dude from Florida rolled up on me. He said, yo, Florida accent and everything. Gold teeth. Dude said, yo. He's like, I'm calling you out. We are in our underwear, y'all. Me and this dude was in underwear. Underwear, guys. Boxers. This dude said, I'm calling you out, and slaps the soap, my little, pouch on my, he slapped my toiletry bag out of my hand and grabbed me. Guys, here I am. He grabs me. We fall in through the door because I was the next one in. We fall in the door of the bathroom. Now the bathroom is full of people crapping, showering, brushing their teeth, whatever they doing. We fall in the bathroom stall in the bathroom. We fall on the, guys, I'm on the pissy bathroom floor with nothing but underwear on and slippers that fell off because the dude just grabbed me and threw me through the door. So now I'm on the floor wrestling this dude. I don't even know why. I don't know what's going on. And I'm wrestling. Yo, guys, it's insane stuff here. Yo, guys, this is not a lie. Yo, my head ended up under the stall by a toilet bowl. My head ended up underneath there with this dude on me like this, jamming my face into the floor. That's where I was at with this. That's where I was. So now I'm under a toilet bowl while someone's on the toilet because we slid under the stall. And I end up getting on top of this dude and putting my knee on his neck. Now, my adrenaline is going so crazy now because I felt like this guy was trying to kill me. That's what I felt like. So I'm going all out now. And now I'm thinking about ending this guy's life because I don't even know what to do, man. I'm in my underwear, y'all. And everyone comes and jumps on me because, he was like, like that. But, yo, guys, it was crazy, man. All right? I fought that same dude I got into an actual fist fight with that dude later on. With that dude. Chief shot me right in my face, that dude. I'll tell that story another day. I don't think you guys want to hear that story, but my goodness, man. Goodness gracious, man. Sometimes, man, when I think about some of these stories, sometimes I think to myself, like damn, man. Like, what the hell? It's weird stuff, man. I mean, it's weird stuff. Excuse me, guys. Weird stuff. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. I remember. Oh, gosh, dang it, man. Yeah, listen, man, I'm telling you, man. Oh, goodness gracious, man. Yeah. Yo, I'm telling you, man. See? Yo, I'm telling you, man. Growing up was rough sometimes when you had siblings. You know, I remember watching, I was watching a movie one time. I can't remember movies. I can't give you guys a movie reference, but I was watching a movie one time. And the guy was talking to another guy about like fighting, right? And the guy was like, yo, man, you're really good at fighting. You know, he whooped a bunch of dudes' asses, right? Like a bunch, like 5 or 6 guys. He beat up. I can't remember the movie, right? I can't remember who it was. But he whooped a bunch of dudes' asses, right? And he saw to this guy. He's like, oh, man, you know, where'd you learn to fight like that? He's like, damn, man, you know, I wish I could fight like you. You know, where'd you learn to fight? And the guy said, you know, I got good at fighting from fighting. Not from some crazy, you know, instructor, you know, or some crazy, you know, jujitsu that I learned, you know, from this place, or yeah, go to this guy and learn from this dude. He said, I just got good from fighting because I got into a lot of fights. And there's some truth to these kinds of things, right? Like the toughness that you develop. It's not necessarily being in a fist fight, the toughness. I told you guys, just because you are tough don't mean you can fight. And just because you can fight don't mean you're tough. It's not the same thing. Now, there's a correlation there, absolutely. If you're a fighter, then chances are you're going to be tough to a degree, right? Because you have to be tough to be a fighter. You're not just, like, who wants to be a fighter? Like, who wants to get punched in the face? Nobody wants to get punched in the face. You want to get punched in the face? I don't want to get punched in the face. I don't want to get elbowed. I don't want to get kneed. None of that stuff. You know what? Because if you do that to me, I'm going to be upset. And it's going to be a legit fight. That was the one thing about like boxing and all these other things that I always thought like to myself, like, you know, like if someone tried to choke me out, like while I was doing like jujitsu or something, like that, it could be like a real fight, man. I'll be, oh, damn, like you trying to like, you know what I'm saying? Like you putting me in a spot. I don't like this stuff, man. Like get up off me, man. But there is some, you know, truth to these kinds of things. Like I said, if you are always fighting with somebody, like, or not fighting with somebody, but if you're always getting into fights, and I'm not condoning violence, I'm not condoning fighting, none of this stuff, guys, please do not mistake what I'm talking about here. And I'm saying, I'm not John Wick, I'm not the Equalizer, I'm not, you know, Jackie Chan or Michael Jai White. I see someone put Michael Jai White. I'm not none of these dudes, man. I'm not a badass. I'm none of this stuff, man. That's not what I'm saying here, but I know I've been in a lot of fights though, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been in a lot of physical altercations. I told you, not because I'm a tough guy, not because I'm a bully, but because I've stood up to a lot of this stuff, guys. I've told you that story about my friend that was from India, right? When I was in junior high, no less. My friend's family, one of the kids, the first kids that I met when I moved out of the city, his family was from India, right? So he would get made fun of a lot. Kids would make fun of him and stuff, right? When we would play certain sports, they wouldn't pick this kid, right? So we had developed a friendship, but it was one of those things where kids looked at him and they looked at me and they're like, yo, why are you friends with that kid? That kid's a loser, man. You know what I'm saying? He's just some skinny Indian kid, right? And that's how they would talk about my friend. So it came a point in time where you have to make decisions sometimes, right? And you have to either be like, okay, yeah, you're right. This kid's a dork or this kid's not cool. I'm not going to hang out with him. Or am I going to be the kind of guy, because the way that my parents raised me, where this kid was one of the nicest kids, one of the kids that was nice to me. Because when my family moved out of the city to the suburbs, guys, I was the only brown kid in the school. There were no brown kids in the school, guys. I moved into the white area, man. True story, huh? True story, man. Kids made fun of me all the time. They made fun of my clothes because my family didn't have the money like some of these other parents did, some of these other families. So I dressed differently. I came from the city. So I got made fun of a lot. Girls didn't want to talk to me, right? I told you I was the only minority in the school. So things were a little different from me. But this kid was one of my first friends when other kids didn't want to talk to me, right? When I wanted to sit have a place to sit on the bus, right? And no one wanted to, you know, sit with you because you're the new kid, man. You're the weird kid, man. I'm the brown kid. I'm dressing weird. So why would I abandon my friend in these moments? So I told you guys a story of the fight that I had to get into because this kid was bullying my friend. And I told the kid, all I said is 8th grade, y'all. I told the kid to leave him alone. Leave him alone. I said, leave my friend alone. I didn't threaten him with violence. I didn't push him. I said, leave my friend alone. And that kid, he felt threatened by that. He felt threatened. So what ended up happening, I told you guys, I'm after school with some of my friends, right? And we're just walking, hanging out after school. You know, sometimes you play sports after school, you hang out, you try to talk to the girls after school, you know, whatever the case may be. So we're hanging out after school one day, and we're walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden we get confronted. It was me and 3 of my friends, right? We're hanging out there. We're the only ones by ourselves here. All of a sudden we get confronted by a group of like 10 kids, a bunch of kids, man. Guys, one of the kids walks right up to me, and he looks at my friend, guys. When I tell you about my memory, you see what I'm saying, guys? I remember this stuff. This is 8th grade. The kid walked up to me, looked at my friend, and said, yo, can this kid fight? That's what he said. Can this kid fight? Pointed in my face. And my friend said to him, I'll never forget it, my friend says, why don't you find out? That's what he answered to him. And you know what the kid did, guys? He turned around. He went to take off his sweater or act like he was going to take off his sweater. And he slapped me in the face. Slapped me right in the face, guys. Bang. Right in the face he hit me, guys. No warning, nothing. I didn't know what the kid is, right? So he says to me, he goes, you know who I am? Like that, after he slapped me. And I'm looking at, I take my book bag off because it's on now. He says, you know who I am? I said, I don't know who you are. God, I told you the junior high, thousands of kids. I don't know this kid like that. So he says, I'm so-and-so's friend, the kid that you threatened. Yo, when he told me that, I was like, what the hell? I didn't threaten that kid. I didn't try to beat him up. He was bullying my friend because he knows my friend is not going to do anything, because that's what bullies do. They go after the less fortunate kids, the kids who are not going to be aggressive towards them or stand up, right? So I was confused. So we ended up, once again, fighting. After he told me this stuff, we ended up, clashing. I remember pushing this kid. And I remember I hit this kid so hard right in his chest, man. I remember I pushed him, and he hit the wall, and when he bounced off the wall, I hit him. Bang! Right in the middle of the chest, guys. Boom! When I hit him, he went in like this, right? And he went down right against the wall again, and he crumbled down to the floor. And when I went to go get him again, all the other people jumped in and broke it up. They said, the teachers are coming. There's a teacher coming. So we all broke out of there. But this kid went out telling everybody he whooped my ass. He was telling other kids he beat me up. And once again, I got a reputation to keep, man. All right? I can't be having this kid telling everybody he beat me up and beat me down. You know what I'm saying? Because he cheap shot at me. And then when the fight was getting into it, you was about to get pummeled, man. And everyone came and broke it up. All right? So these are the kinds of things that, these are the kinds of fights that I've been in my life. I'm not out there grabbing people or trying to be an aggressive person or start fights or instigate problems or be bullying people. But I've said things and I've stood up for people, but I probably should have shut up, because now I told you, now I put myself in a position where I got to defend myself now. But you guys know what happens? I'm going to tell you guys a quick story and then I'm going to get up out of here. Where that goes. The other day, my wife went out with my kids, right? They went to this, it's like a bouncy place, right? With all these different bouncy houses and all this stuff. So my son went there until he's 8. It's just really cool. They have like a bouncy basketball court. And he realized goes, anyway, my wife took them there, right? I was doing some housework yesterday. So she took them out. They met up with our cousins, right? They're cousins. And my son, who's 8 years old, has a baby cousin. She's 4. So they're out at the bounce place, right? And they're having a good time. And my wife comes home and she tells me a story. And she tells me that our son, like, she was proud of him. And she wanted him to tell me what he did, right? She wanted him to tell me. She didn't want to tell me. She wanted him to tell me. So now I'm like, damn, like, what's going on here? And she said, I'm really proud of what he did. So my wife's trying to, my son's being all weird now about it, right? Because, he didn't want the recognition for it. It was just something that he did because he thought that was right. Maybe he got that from me. I hope, or from my wife or from both of us. So my wife was telling me a story how his 4-year-old cousin, they're playing this game there, and they're doing something, and she was building something with these blocks that they had, right? She's building something up. So my wife says that there was another kid that was like the same age as my son, like 7 or 8 years old. She said the kid was, around that age. And like I said, my son, his cousin, she's 4, right? So she's building this thing up, and the kid comes over and kicks it, right? Just knocks it down after she built up like this castle, with all these blocks. This kid came over and kicked the whole thing down. So my son saw this, and he's still standing there. My wife is telling me the story, and he says that he went with his cousin over to like my wife and the mother, like, hey, this is what happened, because she started crying, right, the little girl. So she's crying now, and my wife said that he walked off right after, like he walked with her there. He walked off, and she said when he came back, he had like this look on his face, of like satisfaction that like he did something right. And he felt good about what he did, and like a contentful look. So my wife says to my son, she goes, tell your dad what you did. What did you say to that kid? So I guess my son went back and approached that kid and said to him, why did you do that to my cousin? That wasn't very nice. And she didn't appreciate that. And you made her very upset. My son approached that kid, not to fight him, not to beat him up, not to do anything violent or physical to the kid, to hurt him, to let him know what you did was wrong. And we didn't appreciate that. He called the kid out and let him know about himself. So again, these are the kinds of things that, like, when my son does stuff, whether my daughter's helping somebody out or she's doing something, kind, like these are the things that make me feel good, that make me feel like I'm doing the right things. I'm raising my children, once again, with the values and the principles, so that they can contribute to society, so that they can stand up for the less fortunate people, for the younger people, the older people, right? The people who are maybe a little bit more timid or a little bit weak or have a disability or a handicap, and they need somebody's assistance. They need a hand, right? They just need someone to be freaking decent. But instead, what do? We allow people to have these situations happen to them, and then we stand there and we videotape people, or we laugh at people in the gym because they don't look like you, or they're not as strong as you, or they don't know how to use a machine. If they don't know how to use a machine, show them how to freaking use the machine. Why are we making fun of them now? So what do you get? People don't want to go to gyms anymore. That's why I talk about that in my videos. People don't have the confidence in themselves anymore. I talk about this in my videos because they're worried about what everybody else thinks, and everybody else is worried about everybody else. Putting people on blast, videotaping and embarrassing people. That's all we do now. No one has backbone anymore. They said no one stands on anything anymore. And no one's saying that we have to be, like I said, a superhero, right? None of us are, like I said, we're not indestructible, right? We're not like that. We're not like what's that movie with Will Smith? We're not Hancock, right? Where you could just walk through bullets and all these kinds of things. No one's asking anyone to jump out the window and be crazy, right? You're not Blank Man, all right? But at the same time, sometimes these are the things. Like sometimes you have to do this. Sometimes it requires us to do this, right? And I've talked about some of these scenarios. So once again, guys, I really appreciate all you guys coming through. Shout out to my man, Scaly Reptile. You guys know the deal, man. Like I said, man, people, like I said, the people who can are supposed to do this. When I tell you guys, I like the burden of being a grown man in society, guys, you know the burden that's on us as grown men in society. No knock on women out there. Any women listening to right now, there's no disrespect to women, because I tell you guys about my wife all the time, man. I told you I need my wife, y'all. I need my wife. So again, it's not about women versus men. But remember, there's a certain burden that falls on men that women know nothing about, guys. All right? And the burden is the protector. We are supposed to be the ones. We're supposed to be the ones standing up to this stuff. You guys have seen some of those videos, right, on TV or maybe YouTube, where they put people in weird scenarios, right? Where maybe some guy's trying to be a weirdo with a kid, right? And they want to see what people are going to do, right? Don't be one of them people that allow people to do weird things because you want to mind your business, or you want to, I don't want to get any problems with anybody. Nah, we can't think that way, because that way of thinking has allowed a lot of these weirdos out here to abuse these scenarios, take advantage of these children, take advantage of women, take advantage of people who are helpless against them, old people. I told you, they used to working in jail. You know how many people, old people, used to call our jail up guys thinking their nephew, their grandson was arrested in jail and he needed bail money? You had old people calling us up, guys, crying sometimes. Oh my God, can you tell me if my grandson's in there? He said he needs $1,000 for bail. They have no idea to scam, y'all. You have no idea, because no one's out there looking out for these old people. They're taking advantage of the old people. This is what people do out there. You guys ever see that movie, The Hive or Beekeeper? I think it's called Beekeeper, with Jason Statham. Check that movie out. Jason Statham was a badass. But that's what I'm talking about, man. These people out there getting scammed. Old people calling up thinking that their grandkids are arrested and they need all this bail money. Who do I send the money to? Where do I send the money to? Guys, man, I remember some years back, there was a lot of old people getting assaulted in New York City. Every time you turn the news on, there was an old person getting hit by somebody. You had senior citizens in New York City in broad daylight getting hit by people and nobody doing anything about it. People walking down the street, punching old people and walking off, and people just standing there looking around. Everybody's scared. Everybody being a coward. There's strength in numbers, damn it. Look at each other. Look at the grown man next to you. Look at him in his eyes. You guys make a connection. And you be like, yo, we gonna let this roll? Or we gonna do something about this? Yo, we gonna do something. Look at a couple of dudes. There's strength in numbers. No one's telling you to be an action hero by yourself. No one's telling you to be Sylvester Stallone and Cobra. What we're saying is, sometimes you gotta look at people. Look at yourself. And be like, am I gonna just stand here and allow this? Yo, why don't me and you? Yo, my man over here. Yo, put your bag down, man. Let's go do this over here. Sometimes you gotta do that. You gotta look at each other and be like, yo, it's time for us to stand up. The grown men of society, not of America, of France, or England, Mexico, Canada, Croatia, Japan, Australia, Sierra Leone or South Africa, or somebody in Egypt or Italy or Greece, Germany or Norway, Switzerland. It got to be a guy from wherever country you're from. Just men. Where the frick are the men? That's a burden we got. Open the door for somebody. Get up out your seat. Let someone sit the hell down for you. Stand up for the less fortunate. Shovel somebody's driveway. Help the old lady with her groceries. Stop parking in handicap spots when you're not handicapped. Damn it, man. Damn. Damn. Well, I guess on that note, we'll end it, guys. Once again, shout out to everybody that came through the live, man. It means a lot. I rambled on for like 2.5 hours here. Probably ain't gonna have no voice tomorrow. That's all right. It's okay, guys. It's all good. So maybe I'll do some videos tomorrow. Maybe I'll be able to. I don't know, man. Again, like I said, man, love them skins. Shout out to you, Newman. Thank you for coming through. Yeah, Beekeeper, man. That was the movie, man. Really, like I said, I've always been a Jason Statham fan. I love his work, the movies that he does. I love the characters that he plays. I love his demeanor in his movies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, he just, like I said, he looks the role. He's got the cool swag about him. So once again, shout out to Jason Statham and the movies that he's put out over the years. Like I said, one of the legit badasses over the last 20 years or so, Jason Statham. But again, like I said, guys, it means a lot. Mark Book, yo, shout out to you, man. It means a lot too. You're a true supporter, man. You come through with the live, the supers all the time. Like I said, so shout out to my man Mark Book for always coming through. And he said, you guys truly humble me, man. That's why you're the transporter. Like, I mean, the dude is just cool as hell. Like, like I said, his whole aura, every movie he does, like, who's cool? Like, Jason Statham is the kind of guy where you You know, like if you have a problem, like, you know, we all know, like, I don't got no hair like that. I'm bald. You know, I've been going bald or went bald probably like in my mid-30s. So someone like Jason Statham, he makes the bald head, the accent, like all that joint. It worked with that dude, man. Like everything is just smooth. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, everything. Like I said, and like I told you, he looks the part. And if you know Jason Statham, the dude's a legit athlete. And like I said, the dude like trains, like he's like a legit, like in shape dude, man. Like this guy is like on point, man. So once again, shout out to my man Mel over at Man Down Sports for coming through, man. Yeah, I've been rambling on here. I'm about to end this. So again, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. You guys know the deal, man. LeBron James in the game late stat padding, right? Like crazy, embarrassing himself even further. And Scaff attack, like Scaff, come on, dude. Like this Nikola Jokic stuff ain't it, man. I told you, Scaff has become the new Nick Wright for like, you know, Nikola Jokic fans. Where Nick Wright is to LeBron, Scaff attack is to Nikola Jokic. These are the facts. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.